Welcome to Sale Sharks Live here at the AJ Bell Stadium. Just a little bit, that's good. As the Sale Sharks play Bath, I'm going to find out which round of the Gallagher Premiership we're in because it's been that long since we've been here, I've forgotten. I'm joined as ever by Ollie and Chris. Guys, how you doing? Let me just find my seat. I'm on seat number 69, which is this one here. Somebody, no, this one here I think it is. I'm going to sit here anyway. Guys, great to see you. How you doing?
Good,
Chris?
Colin.
Yeah,
It's
bad.
been a while, hasn't it? 6 months since we sat here, and it seems every day of it, but great to be back.
It's been 6 months, really. Wow. Ollie, welcome back. It seems like ages. Normally, we'd be chatting to fans, we'd be getting stuck in, everything like that. It's a little bit different. How do you think the teams are taking this non-fan experience at the moment?
Well, I think to start with, we saw teams taking a bit of adjustment time that first weekend. I don't think the games were particularly great across all 6 matches, so it was difficult to start with. But I think now we're seeing teams coming to terms with it. The match has been a lot better recently, and I think it is different. We've seen that today coming in, but players and professional players, they know what they're doing and they will adjust, and I think we're going to see that again today.
Now, we're not out of touch with the fans. This is exactly why we do Sale Sharks Live, and apologies to everybody at home for us not being here any sooner, but we're here now, we're back. But what's most important, we're the conduit for you back through to this stadium today. So we want to hear what you're up to today, how you're watching the game. Any questions you've got for any of the players, any of the coaching staff, send them through on the social, Twitter, Facebook. Carry a pigeon if you have to. We'll find a way of getting those questions over. But let's talk first about what would normally be pre-season. This must feel a bit weird. How do you think the lads are coping through what would normally be just naturally, actually, I'm getting ready for a new season, Chris?
Well, obviously all the timings have changed, Colin, haven't they, from all the time that was lost through coronavirus and not being able to play, and a decision had to be taken. Are we going to finish the season and not have every team play everybody else home and away, or are they going to complete the fixtures? And that's meant this very intense period of play that's really meant it's always been a bit of a game of poker for the directors of rugby to say, well, which team are we going to put out? Because we can't put out the same players Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. We've got to rest players, we've got to recognise the impact that a game of Premiership rugby takes out on players. So it's meant bigger squads, it's meant adapting training methods, very short time of turnaround game to game. But we've now reached a point where 3 rounds to go, we've pretty much got rid of the midweek pattern now, so it can kind of settle back down into a little bit of the more traditional Premiership rhythm of old of one match every week. Sale, of course, have got that fantastic opportunity a week on Monday in the Premiership Rugby Cup final as well before we get to the end of this season. And then we've got 1 month and we start all over again.
Well, we'll talk about that cup final a little bit later on, I hope, yeah. Ollie, coming in today, obviously you were still late, so you can't blame the traffic and the crowds for that one. We went to the barbecue, actually. Let's just recap that, because we went to the pre-season barbecue last year, which was about a year ago. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? So let's take a little look and just remind ourselves on how we felt about the start of the season. You might see some faces who are no longer here. Let's have a look.
It's a fantastic opportunity to meet the players. There's no other club does anything like this.
Oh, it's absolutely, it's great. I mean, it's been running for a few years now, hasn't it? We've not had season tickets for a couple of years to do work and whatnot, have we? But yeah, we've got another one today, and it's been dead excited to come, and like you say, with the weather's gorgeous, have some food and see the players and the new signings. Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed seeing all the new players, especially, and so looking forward to the new season. We just couldn't not have a season ticket this year with the players that they've signed.
I think to get the access that we get here at Sale is unique. I've not heard of it at other clubs. Last couple of years we've been down here. Access to the players and what they put on for the supporters is absolutely excellent.
It is really good. We get to hear what he says and what he has to say for the season coming, and it's just great seeing all the players here.
Yeah, I think it's really important for the girls to be inspired, so it's really good to see the players and obviously what they get up to as well.
I think it's brilliant. This is the third one I've been to, and there's few clubs that do it. You can get such up and close to the players and have a chat with them and find out what's going on from their point of view. I think it's really, really good for the club and the community.
Season ticket holder?
Yes.
And if you had a message for any other season ticket holders, what would it be?
You should have been here.
So pretty much the same weather. Can I just borrow your mic, colleagues? I think we just have a wee little microphone problem here. Pretty much just a year ago to the day, near enough, that we had that. And we kind of try and remember thinking what we were thinking about what our season would be like, Chris. You know, a year ago, what were your thoughts about where we'd be up to?
Well, I think everybody was very excited, Colin, weren't they? Because they saw the quality of signings that were coming in. You know, all the Dupree brothers arriving from South Africa, and Aka van der Merwe as well. Chris Ashton, of course, was a new face at that stage. He's obviously moved on since, but there were so many new signings coming into Sale that I think everyone was excited. It was just a question of how quickly the players could gel, because no matter how good the cadre of players you've got, it's about getting game time, learning patterns, rhythms, styles of play. And clearly in the first few weeks they didn't gel immediately, as you probably expect, but as the season's gone on, Sale have become the team that I think all the fans hoped they'd become, because they've got the quality there and they've started to show it. As they start the game this afternoon, third in the table after Wasps' victory over Bristol just now, but with the opportunity to go back second again. And with 3 rounds to go, I think everyone, if you'd have offered them this at the start of the season, would have absolutely ripped your hand off. They're genuine contenders for the title. Exeter will still always take some beating. They're always going to be the side others have got to beat, but you'd say Sale were probably the pick of the pack behind them now.
And we'll talk, I don't know which microphone I'm supposed to be using at the moment, but we'll talk a little bit about the matchups. We'll talk a little bit about the matchups in a minute, but let's just talk a little bit about this fan experience and stuff, and how because we do this when we do our shows. The whole point of me running around is to get it stuck in and talk to people about what they're looking forward to. So I'm calling out to you guys at home at the moment. Tell us what you're expecting today, what you think the score's going to be, who's going to score first, what you do. Have you got a try celebration? We'd like to see it. There is a Zoom room available for you to join. If you go and check out the Sales Hark socials, you'll find the link. So just click on, be patient, because we're working with a small team here on the production today. Somebody will let you into the VIP room, the VIP Shark Zoom room, and we'll chat to you and we'll bring you into the broadcast today. Any questions, get them on the socials. Ollie, just tell us a little bit about the fan experience that you'd expect to see. Thanks, Chris. The fan experience that you probably expect to see back then, and why you think it might. I mean, the fans at home are going to be absolutely missing. We're really lucky to be sat here, and the fans at home are going to be absolutely gutted that they're missing this. But tell us a little bit about the expectations of a fan, and we'll look back a little bit later on your experience coming to the AJ Bell. And tell us a little bit about your journey in today and the difference on what it felt like.
So what time did we get here? About 12:30 when we came in from a little area downstairs. So it was totally different. We had to sign some forms. We all had our masks on, 2 meters apart, as you would expect. So it's a totally different experience for us all. It's great to be here. Like we've said, it's a real privilege for us to be here and watch the games. But it is different. It's really different for the players as well. They're getting tested twice a week. There's protocols on how much they can train during the week, how much contact they can do. But at the end of the day, it's still a game of rugby. And when they get out on the pitch in about 20 minutes' time, it's going to be hard hitting like it always is.
Now, no normal press treats for you guys today. Trust me, at half-time, you wonder why I run around for 10 minutes, because these two run into the press suite, eat all the food, the sandwiches and the coffees. No luck today, boys, I'm afraid. However, what we will take a look at is when Ollie came to the game a couple of, over 6 months ago, and Ollie's experience on a match day here at the AJ Bell Stadium. Sorry to tease you on it. Here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome to game day. It's Sale Sharks against Exeter in the Heineken Champions Cup, and I'm here to take you through an entire experience of what you can see down at the AJ Bell Stadium. But first, I've started here at the Trafford Centre. I've had some food, I've had a look round, done my Christmas shopping. I even went to Nando's for a quick bite to eat. But now we're going to head down to the stadium, get on the bus with all the supporters, and go and watch some good rugby, of course. So I've just got off the bus here at the AJ Bell. A great service. You come down for it for free from the Trafford Centre. It's brilliantly put on for the club. Every single game, park at the Trafford Centre, come down here and watch the game. Got me free scarf as well. It's about an hour until kick-off. We're going to go and have a look around. We're going to Sharkey, we're going to go in the shop, and then we're going to go and take our seat in the stadium. So stay tuned.
Sale Sharks, the community is fantastic. We've got a season ticket, me and another coach from where we're from. Our kids are in the stadium already without us, looking at the players warm up. It's super, they love it, they enjoy it, they get to say thank you to the players at the end of the day. It's a welcome atmosphere, it's brilliant. Second year as a season ticket and we're going to keep coming.
You get to see like your favourite players who you might see, like people who just played in the World Cup, and it's just really good to come and watch, and the community's really good over here.
So let's go inside and have a look. See, mate. Too many people in there. So we're in the club shop now. I've got this lovely bit of gear here. It doesn't quite fit me, but as you can see, it's going to keep you warm in the winter, and even in the summer if it gets a bit cold. You've got to get in the shop and get yourself one of these. I would have fit into this about a year ago, but I put on a bit of weight since then, so we'll have to avoid that one.
It's a great atmosphere. You can get a great pie, cup of Bovril, good value. Yeah, we love it, and the kids love it, and it's a family atmosphere. So it's a family day out.
So we're in the ground now, 40 minutes to go. It's going to be a sellout today, so I got here early. I don't want anyone taking me see. It's happened before, so I've got in nice and early. I believe I'm sat over here somewhere, and I'm ready for the game, ready for kick-off. I'm hoping for a Sharks win.
It's lovely how you can wander around and tour different parts of the ground beforehand and see what's going on. I think it's really friendly and it's a comfortable place to watch great rugby.
It's great to see the players after the match. They quite regularly come round, do autographs with the kids and take photos, even if they've not had a great result. So I think community-wise, it's one of the best clubs going for that.
Ollie's trip out to an AJ Bell home game. Ollie, are you still trying to work out how that scarf works at the moment?
I've got to try and find that. Actually, I don't know where it is. I think, I had that on for that game. It almost became a bit of a memento, didn't it, really, that scarf?
Well, it was after that game that we were getting that momentum, so you know what I mean. So pretty much I think that was it. And let's talk about that actually, because what round are we in again, Chris?
Round 20, Colin.
Round 20. Yeah, this is why we have experts here. I'm not the expert. That's why he's an expert. Ollie is also an expert for a different team, probably, but he won't tell us. We'll keep that's a surprise for later. So listen, let's look at the actual teams here now. Bath, Sale, they're sitting quite high up in the table. Let's just talk about the importance of this game first, Chris.
Well, effectively, it's 4 from 5 now in terms of who's going to be in the playoff places, Colin, and Exeter are way clear in top. So really, it's 3 from 4 for positions 2, 3 and 4. We've got Wasps, who are still very much in the hunt. They've thumped Bristol today, gone back second. Then Sale currently sitting in third. Then Bristol, then Bath. And Bath are only a point behind. So they're right on the edge of the top 4. And it's very much going to be a match-up between these sides, you'd think, in the remaining games and obviously the semi-finals. This could yet, of course, be a semi-final in a few weeks' time. If Sale could finish second and get a home draw, could well be that we see this match again in early October. But Sale have got to make sure they get in there first, Colin. They're in a great position. The run-in after this, Northampton away and Worcester at home, 2 games where the Sharks would fancy their chances. But if they can win today, they're almost home and hosed in terms of making the top 4, and then the attention can turn to can they finish second and get that home semi.
So Ollie, sort of just alluded to before about the battle of the directors of rugby and that, and the way that they're playing their squads and their teams. Let's just take a look at that and let's tell us a little bit about the other games that played this weekend.
What's against Bristol today?
Thank you very much. Yeah, how important do you think those little battles, those little resting players, moving players around? We're full on. Where we want to go. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it is interesting. Obviously, Premiership Rugby have brought in certain protocols, so players can't play 3 times in a week. They're not allowed to start 3 times in a week. You're not allowed to be involved in every one of the 7 remaining games that were there. So they're certainly tinkering with the squads. We saw on Wednesday night when Sale played Saracens, Steve Diamond had to rotate his squad so he could bring players back in today. Bath did a similar thing against Worcester. But today we've got almost first choice squads, injuries aside, on both sides, because that's how important this game is. The winner of today takes a massive step towards that top 4. It's all about managing those squads. We've seen just now Wasps have beaten Bristol. Bristol had to send out a weakened squad in that game because they played a stronger squad in their 2 games earlier this week. So it's a different challenge for the directors of rugby because, usually at this time of the season you'd be sending out that first choice 15 every single week, whereas now you've got to tinker it a little bit. But I think what you've got at Sale is you have got that strength and depth. The team we saw on Wednesday night against Saracens, there's a lot of quality players in there, so it doesn't necessarily affect Sale as much as it perhaps does do other teams, but it certainly makes a big difference.
I mean, we were talking about that rotation. Rob Webber, listen, I left Sale Sharks years and years ago when I was working here at Sale Sharks, and now I'm back here again. You just can't leave this place. Rob Webber's back on the bench, I believe, today. Is that right? So what do you think is the draw and the need for those props, those positions to be able to rotate, like Ollie says? How important do you think?
Well, Rob Webber's a great line-out thrower, isn't he? And I think that's what he really brings. He's got a lot of experience. He was the regular hooker for many weeks, Colin, before we had the break in early March. So he'd made that position his own. And obviously, it had been announced he was going to Jersey Reds and start a coaching career. But he's come back, he's going to give extra competition for places, extra backup for Akker van der Merwe and the 2 young hookers, Curtis Langdon and Ewan Ashman, who wait in the ranks. And this is the time of the season where you need experience, you need depth of squad, and you need to be ready, because if someone gets injured now, the chances are you're not going to see him again this season. So you've got to have players who are ready, both mentally and physically, to cope with this, because it will become pressured. We're going to go into potentially territory that Sale haven't been in since 2006. They've never made the end of season playoffs. And with a victory today, they're almost there for those. So a guy like Webber, who's been there, done that, played in World Cups for his country, has won the Premiership in the past, invaluable to bring back in. But I think if we look at the teams that are playing today, Colin, it's such quality across the pitch. We've got the 2 scrum halves who finished the World Cup final. Faf de Klerk for South Africa, Ben Spencer, who played the last 10 minutes for England, and they go head-to-head today. So real quality today.
Yeah, we're going to go run through that team in a second, but before we just do that, let's go and jump over and have a look at this Rob Webber interview that we did way at the start of the year as well. We had a chat with Rob over at Carrington. We've got that lined up, so let's go and have a little look at that now.
Around your mates as intensely and for as long as we are in a week is probably what keeps me going. Every week there's a different challenge, a different team, a different place, a different town. So it keeps it fresh every week. You have to have a huge balance between good players, good coaches, the right environment and the right sort of people in your organisation. Players across all the league are pretty good. It's the X factor, it's the bits away from the rugby field that the teams that get that right get it right on the pitch. Just the whole standard of the league has improved. It's the speed of it and it's the intensity of it. I think they like to play a good brand of rugby, as do we if we get the opportunity. It's definitely one to get excited about. As a young man going down to London and living in London, what turned out to be for a very long time, but was just really good and really developed me, I think, as a bloke and set me on the path that I went down. So I really enjoyed it and I had a great time there. Some of the signings they've made, Malachi Fekatoa, very dangerous player, him coupled with a couple of guys that have been there, and Jimmy Gopeth and Sopawanga. They've got very dangerous backs. Their back 3 are all electric. So I think it should be an exciting match. There was a good mixture of older players, younger players. I think that's the foundation for any success, is to get the environment right, and I know certainly that's what we're trying to do here now.
That was great listening to Rob there. What it means to be a Sale Shark is really important. I've just seen the lads going back in now. They're already in, ready to go. Bath is still doing a few little last-minute preparations there. They look nervous, to be honest, and why wouldn't you be when you come to the AJ Bell Stadium to face this mighty Sale Sharks team? A couple of shout-outs, a big shout-out to the Sheffield contingent that's tweeted in saying go Sale Sharks. Also, we've got some fans in Japan right now, so sending you many, many loves in Japan. Great, thank you for tuning in. So we're talking about rugby, but let's go a quick run through the team now. Chris, you were talking about the scrum halves.
Yeah, I mean, key matchup today, Faf de Klerk against Ben Spencer. Spencer, lots of quality, done well since he's been at Bath. We obviously know all about Faf de Klerk, so that's a key matchup. Back row also Colin today. You could potentially have England's 3 back row forwards who are going to finish off the Six Nations, because you've got both the Currys for Sale and you've got Sam Underhill for Bath. And Eddie Jones, of course, played Tom Curry and Sam Underhill together in the World Cup. Ben Curry, probably the form number 7 in the Premiership at the moment, so that's going to be a fascinating tussle. The front rows as well. I mean, Valerie Morozov in midweek, really impressed for Sale at Loosehead. He's up against Will Stewart, one of the best tight heads in the Premiership, another England international for Bath. And these two teams, Colin, are just in such excellent form. I mean, Sale have lost 2 in 9 in the Premiership, and that were the 2 after we resumed. Bath have only lost 1 since the resumption. They've won 5 out of 6. So 2 really strong sides, but more importantly, 2 sides who are both in form.
Sorry, my ear popped out then. So you're going to have to forgive us at home, because although you're not here, Sync Events are here with a massive sound system still. We're still trying to get this atmosphere going, which is great. It's probably quite important for the lads as well, to feel that build, because there's a mindset going on. So Chris has managed to go through the team there, and Ollie probably didn't hear any of that. So when I ask Ollie the question now about the battle of the back rows, like we planned it, Ollie, tell us about the battle of the back rows.
Well, it's massive, Colin. You know, Ben Curry, since the resumption, has been absolutely unbelievable. He's captained the side on a few occasions as well, and you can't really drop him at the minute. You know, Tom Curry's England's number 7, but well, he's played number 8 as well. But you just can't drop Ben Curry. So Ben Curry's got to start, but then you want Tom Curry in the side as well. So to have both of them working in tandem is massive for Sale. And then you've got the experience of John O'Ross at 6 to captain the side. But then look on the opposition side, you've got Sam Underhill and Talupi Falatau. You know, 2 international players, 2 world-class players. So that could be where the game's won and lost today.
So, I mean, we look at those back row players. Look at this pitch. It's like a snooker table right now, yeah? There's no wind. No, there's no wind. Yeah. No, there's no wind. No, there's definitely no wind. Yeah, and this is the point. There's certain players play better in the back row when it's like this. Certain players love it when there's a howling gale. Let's look at our players, our 2 Curry brothers there, in this kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, perfect conditions for running rugby, isn't it? I mean, it should be a high-scoring game. Wasps and Bristol have played a very high-scoring game just now. I would anticipate this should be quite an open game. It'll be interesting to see tactically, Colin, how Sale go about this. Steve Diamond's gone for the 2 big men in midfield, Manu Tuilangi and Rowan Janssen van Rensburg. I can imagine that's going to mean they'll take quite a lot of ball on the crash, driving it up the middle, and then trying to get the Currys and Akka van der Merwe into the breakdown, jackling, winning it back quickly. But part of this will be interesting, how many players are going to be committed to the breakdown, because we've seen Sale be reluctant to put too many in. The laws have currently been tweaked during the lockdown period, so it'll be important today to understand early, when's Matthew Carley going to blow, what can they get away with at the breakdown.
So this is the thing, Ollie, it takes a while for new players to come into a team, to gel, understand and read each other. It's taken us months and months for the 3 of us to get together and understand how we work, you know? So it's going to take a while for that centre partnership to click. There's a massive pressure then on that centre partnership to click. But Tuilangi's a wise old man, you know, he's got a good brain in his head. Is he going to be able to react to that quite quickly? Do you think they're going to click quicker than we want them to? Or do we expect them to?
Well, it's almost like a new season, Colin, a little bit, really. You know, we had such a long break. This would have been the start of a new season, so everyone's got new players in, they've got new men in, so it is going to be difficult. But Tuolang is a class act. We know what Rohan Janssen van Rensburg is all about. And then you've got Sam James on the bench. He's a class player as well. He showed some nice touches. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. And if it does go wrong, I'm sure Dimes will change it. You can get that tactical change. You can bring Sam James on and mix things up a bit. So I do think it's certainly a strength of Sales, that's for sure.
So listen, let's go back and take a look at our back row. Ben Curry in particular, we went and spoken to him, like a lifetime ago. So we've got a little bit of a video from Ben, and then when we come out of that, we'll go and join these two for commentary.
Age 4 at London Grasshoppers, and then Dad got a job up here, so then moved to Crewe and Nantwich when I was probably 6 or 7. And to be honest, in terms of how do you know you're going to make it, you don't until you get given that first contract. So yeah, it's probably quite late. Looking back now, it seems pretty meaningless, but at the time, those even getting into Central Cheshire and looking at that first team sheet and seeing your name on there, it's massive at the time. Especially having someone pretty much exactly the same as you, you're just encouraging each other. And then you had our dad who was encouraging us, motivating us, and then our cousin was in the Northampton. He probably just kind of finished and got his contract with Northampton Saints by the time we came into Sales. So we got good instruction from him, and yeah, he was very helpful with us. If you can't handle pressure, then you're probably in the wrong industry. And in terms of how our team deals with it, most of the pressure comes from internally. So the drive to be top 4, although Dime says it and you get people saying it from the media, the biggest drive is probably from within. We know what we can achieve. We experience what we can do, how we can train our best. We know what we're capable of. So in terms of pressure, most of it comes from within. You've got to be your own critic, because then you start listening to other people too much. You've got to be the first person to hold yourself accountable. If you reward yourself too early, you can get ahead of yourself. Then that's when your performance is, I think, your best, when you're challenging yourself and you're being critical of yourself, because then that's when you find out more and that's where you can improve. If you kind of start rewarding yourself too early, then that's when you kind of plateau. And to be fair, I've experienced that, and yeah, you kind of know what's right for yourself. I think everyone wants to play for England. That's always your main goal. So in terms of that, it's looking at each game individually. And to be honest, I don't think you can look at too far ahead. So let's say there's a Summit Tour, you can't look at that. You've got to look at every game as a target. You've got to play your best in every game, because when those performances build up, then that's when you start getting the recognition. So for every individual, it's about turning up each week and first of all getting in the team, and then trying to play as best as you can and keeping your place in the team.
Welcome to the AJ Bell Stadium. Welcome back to Sale Sharks Live. It's been 6 months since we were with you last. Goodness me, it seems like twice that time. A cold night in March against London Irish. It's now a very different picture as Ollie Lathrope and myself, Chris Malaband, look out over a sun-drenched AJ Bell this afternoon ahead of round 20 in the Gallagher Premiership. A potentially crucial afternoon as the Sale Sharks take on Bath Rugby. Players once more acknowledging that racism plays no part in rugby or in the wider world. They now prepare for this afternoon's battle, one that could potentially be seminal in the chase for the top 4 places in the Gallagher Premiership. Sale Sharks starting this match in 3rd against a Bath Rugby side in 5th, who hover just 1 point from the edge of the playoffs. If they win this afternoon, Bath will be right in the mix. Two very strong sides put out. We'll run through the teams when we get a moment. It's a shrill blast from Matthew Carley and Rhys Priestland gets us underway. Bath going from left to right as Ollie Lathrop and I look out in this first half. Bath in their change kit of yellow shirts and white shorts. Sale as ever all in blue, and Faf de Klerk is on the ball as Sale secure possession from the kickoff, and de Klerk elects to kick himself, goes up the touchline and makes a good clearance. The first line out of the afternoon will be on the Sale 10 metre. It's a very good afternoon to Ollie Lathrop.
Good afternoon, Chris, and that's an excellent start from Sale. They took the restart very well and set up at the ruck, and Faf de Klerk cleared up to the 10 metre line.
So two extremely strong lineups here this afternoon. Both teams at full strength as Bath win that first line out of the day. Now it's Priestland at 10, popping the ball short and immediately getting involvement from Matavesi in midfield. But Sale have won the ball back right on halfway, and Aka van der Merwe pops in as an ersatz scrum half and pops the ball short. Early drive from Tom Curry, gets support from his brother Ben, and de Klerk once more kicks up the touchline. Decent kick from de Klerk, sending Sale deep into the Bath 22. The applause you can hear is from the Sale squad members not involved today, who form a vociferous support base just in front of us. And Sale with some good early territory, Ollie.
Yeah, that was great work there from AJ McGinty. Nicked the ball in midfield, and Sale set up the ball up, and Faf de Klerk with another excellent kick, and it's pinned Bath deep inside their 22, and that's exactly what you want from the start of a game. Faf de Klerk stepping up there and doing two brilliant kicks, and Sale on the front foot.
Tom Dunn's throw for Bath, and for the second time the Bath hooker successfully picks out his man in the middle there. Good claim from Charlie Ewells, the skipper, as Ben Spencer goes back to Priestland. Priestland showing a bit of industry to Rory McConaughey, who thumps the ball downfield, and Marlon Yard collects for Sale on their own 10 metre line. Yard with a bit of space to run into is over halfway, running up towards the Bath 10, and Ewells in with the tackle. Now it's McGinty who tries a pass, attempted interception in midfield from Ben Spencer. He knocks on, and penalty is awarded by Matthew Carley, the first of the afternoon, just inside Bath territory.
I don't think Ben Spencer can have any excuses there, Chris. He stuck his right arm out as the ball came flying past him. He's a knock on, and I think perhaps in some circumstances, had it been later in the game, you might have got a yellow card there, but just the penalty for now, and Sale can get back down in the back half.
Yeah, no attempt from Spencer there to catch that, as Ollie says, just putting his arm out. Sale then this afternoon. Luke James at fullback, Denny Solomona and Marlon Yard on the wings, Manu Tuilangi and Rohan Janse van Rensburg in the centres, Faf de Klerk at scrum half, and AJ McGinty at fly half. We'll run through the forwards in a moment, but it's the first chance for Aka van der Merwe to try and find his man from this line-out, deep in Bath territory, and van der Merwe goes to the back of the line-out. It's messy though, and Sale struggle there. John O'Ross attempting to win it in the middle. He's just about done enough, Ross, as de Klerk digs that out from the bottom of the ruck. So Sale in possession inside the Bath 22, popped short to Matt Postlethwaite, once more deployed this afternoon, the former academy man, as McGinty looks to try and find a gap, almost finds one and gets the ball away. Good work, and there's a chance for Sale to score the first of the afternoon, and Sale are in. Excellent work from McGinty, and Sale open their account this afternoon. 5 points on the board. McGinty's burst through the middle, the pop pass was there, and Sale Sharks have got the first try of the day, and it's a really good piece of work from Rohan Janse van Rensburg coming in on the angle. He crosses the whitewash for the 6th time this season. It's Sale Sharks 5, Bath Rugby 0.
Well, that was just lovely from AJ McGinty. He attacked the line. That's what you want your fly half to do. You want them to commit defenders, and a little offload there to Rohan Janse van Rensburg, and it's going to take some good defence there to stop the South African, and he burst through to score Sale's first try of the game. An excellent start.
The power of van Rensburg really showing there, bulldozing his way through, and we know how many defenders Janse van Rensburg can beat, and the power of the South African, how hard he is to stop from close range. McGinty times the pass, and Janse van Rensburg does the rest. McGinty adds the extras, and Sale off to a dream start here in the 5th minute. Sale Sharks 7, Bath 0.
A good start's always important, Chris. We've seen that with the two good kicks from Faf de Klerk to get the territory, the penalty that Ben Spencer conceded for Bath, and Sale took advantage. The line-out wasn't great from Aka van der Merwe, but Sale kept the ball, and McGinty gave it to van Rensburg and to give Sale an early lead, and that's just what you want in a game like this. So important to get off to a good start.
Well, Steve Diamond said in his press conference yesterday that his team have been consistently getting off to good starts in games, and ever since that wobble against Harlequins and Exeter after the resumption, Sale 4 wins from 4. It's been a feature of the way his team have been playing. Not always able to keep that momentum up in the second half, as we saw against Saracens in midweek, but getting off to a good start once again this afternoon. And Bath yet to really get into this one, as Luke James hammers that ball downfield, can't find touch, and it's back with Priestland now on the Bath 22. Now a chance for McConaughey to get on the ball, the former England 7-star, but Sale back in possession once more. Here's Ben Curry as Van der Merwe digs the ball out from the bottom of the ruck, but infringement coming, and it's a penalty to Bath. Just to finish off the Sale team this afternoon, Valerie Morrisoff and Will Griff John at prop, Aka van der Merwe's hooking, Matt Postlethwaite and Sean Greer in the second row, John O'Ross, Ben Curry and Tom Curry this afternoon. 8 forming the Sale back row. Bath this afternoon, Tom de Glanville at fullback, Gabriel Halmer-Webb and Rory McConaughey on the wings, Jonathan Joseph and Josh Matavesi in the centres, Ben Spencer and Rhys Priestland at half-back. In the pack for the visitors, Benno Urbano, Tom Dunn and Will Stewart, Josh McNally and Charlie Ewells in the second row, Josh Bayliss, Sam Underhill and Toby Falatau are the Bath back row. And the first opportunity here, Ollie, for Bath to give themselves a bit of a platform as they prepare for this line out on the Sale 10-metre line with their throw.
Well, Bath haven't really got in the game yet, Chris. It's been all Sale this opening sort of 8 minutes, and Bath have struggled to make an impact. But as you said, they've got the chance here. They've got the line out just shy of the Sale 10-metre line. But it's well disrupted, and Sale have come away with the ball.
Excellent disruption from Matt Postlethwaite in the line out there, and Sale robbing Bath of that platform. Stuart Hooper, their director of rugby, will be spitting feathers at that, losing your own throw. Pretty unforgivable, really, when you're in a match against one of the other teams right up there challenging for a playoff spot. But it's Sale who are doing all the right things at the moment, and that continues with the award of a scrum from referee Carley for a knock-on, and Sale are going to have this scrum. Faf de Klerk with the opportunity to put in just inside the Bath 10-metre line.
I think what's really noticeable, Chris, is how much noise the Sale non-playing players are making to try and create that atmosphere. Obviously, there are no fans here, so there's not that usual amount of shouting from the stands, but the Sale players who aren't playing are doing their best to cheer the team on and try and give them that home advantage.
Well, yeah, absolutely right, Ollie. There's probably, I would say, about 30 of the Sale squad members who are sat about 20 yards or so to the left of Ollie Lathrope and myself, and like you say, they're making a fair old racket. The 16th man is alive and well at the AJ Bell in the form of the wider Sale squad. It's a beautiful afternoon for running rugby in the northwest. For some bizarre reason, the floodlights are on, which I would have said, Ollie, was a fair old waste of electricity at this time of year with the sun beating down on the ground.
Can never be too careful in Manchester, Chris.
Well, the M60's moving well. As Ollie and I look out from the very back of the main stand, we can see the chill factor, the indoor ski centre protruding above the motorway, and down in front of us we see the two packs packing down for this scrum, and we see Matthew Carley awarding the penalty. It looks like it's gone against Benno Urbano there for angling in at the point of engagement. That was the signal from Matthew Carley. So Urbano penalised in that tussle with Will Griff John, and that's going to give Sale another really good opportunity deep in the Bath 22. Good kick to touch from AJ McGinty, and a chance here for Aka van der Merwe to give Sale another good setup from this line out.
Yeah, big moment this, Chris. As you said earlier, sometimes the line-out hasn't quite gone to plan for Van der Merwe this season, and that first one didn't quite go right, but Sale kept the ball, so we want to get this one right. And we have seen when the line-out works, Van der Merwe is such a threat off the back of the maul because he's such a good ball carrier. So let's hope they can get this one right and get that maul drive going.
Here comes Van der Merwe's throw then, and this time he manages to pick out his man, but a shrill blast from Matthew Carley curtails things. Now, a long discussion here with Benno Urbano in the front row for Bath, but it's Sale who've been penalised. I think probably for the throw not being straight. So it's going to be a Bath scrummage. Frustration for Steve Diamond and his side, but they do lead by 7 points to 0. We've played 10 minutes at the AJ Bell Stadium. You're listening to Sharks Live. Please interact with us this afternoon through Twitter, Facebook or YouTube. Send us your messages of support. Where are you watching or listening to this afternoon's coverage on Sharks Live. We'd love to hear from you. Please message us with the hashtag Sharks Live. Penalty this time goes against the Sale front row for collapsing that scrummage, and it'll be an opportunity for Rhys Priestland to clear his lines for Bath.
I think that just shows, Chris, those last two penalties at the scrum, how much of a battle it's going to be in the front row. You've got two quality operators like Will Griff-John and Ben Abano, and that's going to be some tussle, and I can't really see either of them getting really on top of the other, because they're both really great scrummagers, so that's going to be one to watch for today.
Battles all over the park. Sam Underhill against the Curry brothers in the back row. Faf de Klerk against Ben Spencer at scrum half. Rhys Priestland against AJ McGinty at fly half. Lots of mouth-watering matchups between the two informed teams in the Premiership. Bath have lost just 1 of 6 since the resumption, but Sale in very good form too, with victories in their last 4 as de Klerk takes that high ball from Ben Spencer's up and under. Sale back in possession with the South African on halfway, and de Klerk releases his back line, and through goes Janse van Rensburg, finds Yard, and now Tuilangi popping up in the wide right channel, just 5 metres or so in from the right-hand touchline. De Klerk is there to recycle from the bottom of the ruck. Pop pass short to Janse van Rensburg, the scorer of Sale's early try in this one. McGinty to Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe brought down by Sam Underhill in midfield. One of the Kamikaze brothers, as named by Eddie Jones. His partnership with Tom Curry in the World Cup, causing such excitement for England management and fans alike. But in opposition today, as Postlethwaite drives forward for Sale, and de Klerk pops it short to Jono Ross, popping up in the wide left channel. We're on the Bath 10-metre line. Multiple phases here from Sale as they recycle. Bath not committing too many to the breakdown. Happy to have a deep defensive line stretching across the park as de Klerk pops it back to McGinty, who elects for an up and under, the Irish-American. But it's a good claim there, coming onto the ball very well from Gabriel Hamer-Webb, who, wearing 14, is actually playing on the left wing this afternoon. Rory McConaughey switched to the right, and Hamer-Webb doing well with that one. But Sale back in possession with Yard, up to the Bath 10-metre line. De Klerk to McGinty. McGinty with a little chip through, tries to chase his own kick. A little bit ambitious and couldn't quite get his way past Charlie Ewells in trying to chase that up. So Bath are going to get possession back. It's Abano, takes a short pop pass from Ben Spencer. But it's Sale who are rewarded with the penalty. Abano not able to get that back quickly enough to the satisfaction of Matthew Carley. And that's going to give Sale a penalty well within AJ McGinty's kicking range. We will, though, have a short delay while the Bath physio is brought onto the park. Ollie.
Well, we talked about it pre-match, Chris, how important the back rows were going to be, and especially Tom and Ben Curry. And we saw there what Ben Curry's been doing since the restart, what he's been doing throughout his whole career, getting over the ball, getting the jackal in, winning the penalty. And that's what Sale are going to be all about today, I think. Playing Tom and Ben together, you have such an edge at the breakdown. I know Bath have got someone like Sam Underhill to counteract that, but to have the two Curry brothers together makes a massive difference. And I thought what was quite interesting in a game a couple of weeks ago was that I think there was some shouting from Steve Diamond. It said that we only want Aka van der Merwe and the Currys over the ball.
Yes, nobody else.
Because it's such a, if you lose that, if you give up that penalty, it can affect the game negatively against you. So you want your best jackalers, only the ones going over it, and Ben Curry's one of the best of the lot.
Well, it's not often, Ollie, that we see the two Currys deployed together, is it? And one of the things that you and I were talking about when we saw the teams listed yesterday was Jono Ross's deployment at blindside and Tom Curry at number 8, where he hasn't actually appeared for Sale at all this season, and I don't think ever. And Steve Diamond's response when asked about this was, well, Jono Ross is probably the best 6 in the Premiership at the moment. I don't want to move him from there. Ben Curry, since the resumption, is undoubtedly the best 7, so the only place Tom Curry can play is 8. And I'm sure Eddie Jones will be delighted to see that, because it's given Tom Curry yet more time to practice that position.
Well, when Eddie Jones named it number 8 in that Six Nations opener against France, there was a bit of perplexement, I think, even from Steve Diamond himself. But, you know, he's given Tom Curry the go there today. But as you said earlier, how can you drop Ben Curry? He's been unbelievable. He's captained the side to 3 wins since the restart, and you need him in your side. And Jono Ross is obviously one of the best 6s in the Premiership. He's got the most tackles in the Premiership this year, so you want those playing as well. Then you've got the Dupreers as well. So there's certainly a plethora of options there for Steve Diamond. So, I can completely understand why you would want to keep Ben Curry and John O'Ross in the team, so Tom has to play 8.
Well, the first substitution of the afternoon has just taken place. Tom Ellis coming on into the back row for Bath, and it's Josh Bayliss who's gone off. Charlie Ewells and Josh Bayliss both attempting tackles, clashed heads, and Bayliss off, at least for now, for an HIA. You'd think it could be potentially for the whole afternoon. We'll wait and see on that one. But Josh Bayliss, the former England under-20s man, is, for now at least, into the dressing room, and Tom Ellis into the fray. You might remember just before that little break for the physio to attend to Bayliss, Sale had won a penalty. Great work, as Ollie said, by Ben Curry on the floor. Gives AJ McGinty the chance to stand over this one. Stadium silent, hum of the M60, the only distraction. McGinty 15 metres in from the left touchline, 10 metres beyond the 22. Would fancy his chances here, but he's pushed it, and that'll be one that he will look back on and probably expect to land 9 times out of 10. But McGinty, perhaps undone by the delay there as the injury was being dealt with, pushed that to the right of the post, and it remains Sale Sharks 7, Bath 0.
It's unusual from AJ McGinty, Chris. One of the reasons he's in the side is that his place kicking is usually much better than Rob Dupree's, and that's one of the reasons he's been selected. So that's an unusual miss from him. I'm sure he'll want to get that next one right as soon as he gets the opportunity again.
Restart from Reece Priestland sees him hammer the ball low downfield, goes all the way through to Luke James, who returns it with interest, and now Gabriel Hamer-Webb tries to run it out from defence for Bath. Ben Spencer waits at the bottom of that ruck. We're just outside the Bath 22. Sale Sharks 7, Bath 0. You're listening to Sale Sharks live from the AJ Bell with Ollie Lathrope and myself, Chris Malaband. If you're just joining us, Rohan Janse van Rensburg, the try scorer, early on in this one to give Sale that lead, converted by AJ McGinty, and it's the home side in possession once more with Janse van Rensburg brought down in midfield, and a penalty for crossing is given. Matthew Carley spotting Manu Tuilangi running across the line, and that's going to give Reece Priestland the chance to take play from inside Bath territory into the Sale half.
Yeah, I think it was McGinty who came through there and blocked off the Bath defenders. Rohan Janse van Rensburg had the ball when McGinty just came across, and the 2 Bath defenders that were trying to tackle van Rensburg were blocked off by McGinty, and it gives Bath a chance to get some territory. I don't think they've been in the Sale 22 yet. It's been all Sale, and I think there'll perhaps be some disappointment that it's only 7-0 to the Sharks.
We've played over 15 minutes in the warm September sunshine in Manchester, and Bath go for a shortened line out. Just 5 to compete in this one from the throw of Tom Dunn, as Reece Priestland now goes into the centre to Matavesi, and here comes Tom de Glanville into the line, and de Glanville then with a dreadful pass when he had Gabriel Hamer-Webb out to his left. He's unable to take advantage, the ball bouncing into touch, and Bath just struggling for rhythm here, Ollie, as Aka van der Merwe prepares to take this line out for Sale.
Yeah, that was really poor from Tom de Glanville then. It wasn't a difficult pass to Hamer-Webb on the wing, and it just sort of went along the floor. There was not any particular pressure coming in from the Sale defenders, and it was just a really poor pass. And again, as you said, Bath just can't get into the game. I'm not sure whether it's Sale, what they're doing, but Bath are really struggling to make an impact.
Van der Merwe goes deep in the line. Wasn't the best throw, but excellent work from John O'Ross, leaning up and across to grab it. Advantage coming Sale's way as Matthew Carley spots an infringement by Bath at the back of that line out, and Carley's seen enough with that ball not coming out, elects to curtail play, and it'll be a penalty to Sale just inside their half. Well, as you were saying, Ollie, I think Steve Diamond's only frustration thus far will be that his side are not further ahead on the scoreboard, because the visitors, for all their excellent recent form, are struggling to move through the phases, struggling to execute the basics, and you feel the opportunity exists for Sale now to really ram home this advantage as they move into the Bath 22 once more.
Well, it was about the line out there, Chris. It wasn't the best throw from Aka van der Merwe, but John O'Ross took it, and it's the value of getting that back ball. If you can get that cleanly, as Sale did, it makes things difficult for the defenders, and Bath conceded the penalty, and again they're under pressure. Let's just hope that Sale can get this line out right in the 22.
Lots of movement in the line out. Postlethwaite at the front is the target, but once more Sale haven't managed to secure the ball from their own throw, and Bath have the chance to clear as far as Luke James, who has become Steve Diamond's preferred option at fullback ahead of Simon Hammersley. In really good form, James, since the resumption, and Sale recycle up to the Bath 10-metre line. It's de Klerk electing to go himself, finds Tuilangi, who hasn't had huge amounts of ball so far, and de Klerk picks up once more from the base of the ruck. Sale moving sideways, struggling to really penetrate the Bath line at the moment as the visitors from the West Country continue to lay out a blanket of yellow shirts across the AJ Bell, not committing many to the rucks but having plenty of defensive line waiting when Sale try and break clear, and Stuart Hooper's approach borne out on that occasion as Sale are penalised for not releasing the ball on the floor. It's going to be a penalty to Bath just behind their own 10-metre line.
Yeah, disappointment there for Sale, Chris. They had the ball going forward, but it's the breakdown, is these new interpretations. Teams are still getting used to them a little bit. Referees are going to be stricter at the breakdown, and we saw that there, Sale going off their feet and Bath getting the penalty. Just add, if you do want to join the conversation, there's a link on Zoom from the Sale Twitter page earlier. Get on that link and join the conversation, and with hashtag Sharks Live as well.
Sale 7, Bath 0 here at the AJ Bell. Sale starting this match third now in the table after Wasps thumped a much weakened Bristol side earlier. We'll come back to the complexities of the top 5 in terms of matches played and points won a little bit later in the broadcast, but it's Bath now in possession for the first time, getting a bit of a maul going, heading towards the Sale 22, but they're repelled by Aka van der Merwe and Matt Postlethwaite amongst others. Jean-Luc Dupria also stemming the tide as Spencer pops the ball short to the blonde head of Josh McNally, the former London Irishman, who is stopped, and van der Merwe goes in hard at the breakdown. Priestland to Benno Urbano on the right touchline. Urbano up against Faf de Klerk, bit of a mismatch, but de Klerk manages to at least slow down the Bath loosehead prop. Just outside the Sale 22, Bath in possession. First time we've seen them really in a position of threat. Nice pop pass inside, finds substitute Tom Ellis, and Ellis takes Bath to within 5 metres or so of the 22. Looped pass from Matavesi finds Hamer Webb wide left. Opportunity for Hamer Webb, and Denny Solomona is across with the tackle. Sale, like Bath, not committing many to the rucks, opting instead to fan out their defence across the 22-metre line. Spencer, pop short to de Glanville. Trouble here for Sale as an opportunity opens up for Bath, and there is the first visitor score of the afternoon. Bath stemming the tide, and the first time that they've really offered a threat to the Sale 22. Bath Rugby reduced the threat from 7 points to 5. And with a straightforward conversion to come, it looks highly likely that it'll be all square at the AJ Bell as we move past the midpoint of the half. Neat play along the back line. A nice dummy from Rory McConaughey as he hit the line at pace, and he's sprinted in behind the posts.
Well, he's a danger man for Bath at the minute, isn't he, Chris? That's his 7th try since the restart, and you've got to tackle people like that. They will score. It's a neat dummy, but the defenders there really should have made the tackle. But Bath are back in the game, and it's their first real attack in the Sale 22, and they've got on the scoreboard, so that'll be concerning for Steve Diamond. And we know what this Bath side are about. They've been in form since the restart. McConaughey's been in form since the restart, and you've got to watch a player like that.
Rhys Priestland then standing over this conversion. He's right in the mix for the Gallagher Premiership Golden Boot this season. 165 points thus far. That takes him to 167, just 2 points behind Bristol's Callum Sheedy. Straightforward conversion for the visitors. And I think, Ollie, we said, didn't we, just a few minutes ago, Sale had all the play in the opening quarter of an hour, only 7 points to show for it. Bath's first attack, and suddenly it's 7-all.
Yeah, that's what can happen, Chris. One attack, got to be clinical. Sale have had chances in the Bath 22, a few poor throws from the line out, and Bath take advantage and go down the other end and score as the players just come together for the drinks break that takes place halfway through each half since the restart. A chance to reset, have a chat about what's happened so far, and I'm sure John O'Ross will just be urging calm at the minute. Things they've played well the first 20 minutes, so we're just one lapse in concentration, but get back to what's worked, which has been strong at the breakdown. A good kicking game from Faf de Klerk, and getting that line out working is so important, Chris. We've seen it through since the restart. You've got to get that line out right. When Sale do, they're scoring plenty of tries, so it will come, but it's just going to take a bit of time.
And like you say, Rory McConaughey has been one of the informed players since the resumption. Of course, part of the England World Cup squad, scored a try against the United States in Japan, and showing there a clean pair of heels to skip through and score. So 7-all as we restart.
And the kick is high from AJ McGinty, just inside the Bath 22, taken well by Talupe Falatau. He drives the ball just outside of the Bath 22, and Ben Spencer looks as if he's setting up for the kick. It's a high kick from Ben Spencer. It's going towards the halfway line. Luke James is coming towards it, and he tries to take the kick, but he's knocked it on. He's gone straight into the hands of Will Griff-John, and Bath have the penalty, and what a bonus that is from them. It was a great kick from Ben Spencer, and suddenly the momentum of the game has changed, and Priestland's gone for a long kick from the penalty. It's in a great one. It's just shy of the Sale 5 metre line, and suddenly, Chris, this game has a completely different complexion.
Well, I feel a bit sorry for Will Griff-John there, because that was one of those incidents where, because McGinty spilt it, Will Griff-John had about a nanosecond to try and take his hands out of the way, and of course instinctively as the ball pops to you, you try and catch it. He did that, but of course that is a penalty, and like you say, it gives Bath a great field position here.
And the line out was clean from Bath, and they look for the drive. Sale have done well so far to halt it, but they're still going forward, and there's a bit of a break off here, and Bath are going towards the line. Oh no, the ball's actually in the ruck now, so here come Bath. It's a chip through from Spencer, and Joseph tries to get on the ball, and it's well marshalled by Denny Solomona, who manages to push the ball out the back of the dead ball zone, but it is a Bath penalty. That maul there, Sale trying to collapse it, so a penalty to Bath, and another opportunity here for Bath to get some points on the board if they choose so, or perhaps they'll look for another maul. It worked successfully there. Sale had to concede the penalty to stop it, and perhaps Bath will be tempted to have another go.
Yeah, tricky decision this for Charlie Ewells. You'd think a pretty kickable penalty from the position, but he may fancy his chances of picking up 7, but I'd have thought this early in the game it might make sense to kick for the posts. Referee Matthew Carley's just having another look here. This could be, I guess, a potential yellow card issue that he is considering. What we're seeing though from Bath, Ollie, whilst they struggled for rhythm early on, as soon as they've got close to the Sale 22 they've looked dangerous, haven't they? McConaughey's pace skipping through for the try, and then we saw immediately Ben Spencer try a little kick through. Admittedly it was a free play for him, the penalty was already coming, but it looked a good rolling maul that Bath had got moving. And they may take confidence now that, having had a relatively patchy start to the game, now they've found their groove, the confidence is kind of coursing through the Bath ranks. So important for Sale now, important period here, that they try and ensure that Bath don't run away in this second half of the first half, because it looks like they've started to hit their straps a bit, the visitors.
What is the value of a good line out, Chris? Bath have got theirs right so far and Sale haven't, and that's almost been the difference. I know there's only 7-all on the score sheet, but Bath are going to have another opportunity here. Matt Carley's still over at the screen. We don't have our usual monitors in front of us today, so we can't quite see ourselves. We're not sure what we're looking at. Are we looking at a potential penalty try here, Chris, potentially?
Well, the screen has run through the full incident. What happened was that Ben Spencer put a chip through that Jonathan Joseph was chasing, and as you rightly said, Denny Solomona chased that one back. I didn't see anything, and that would suggest to me that Joseph was impeded and would have scored. So Carley running back now, but a yellow card is coming out, and here comes the yellow. And is it John O'Ross? Yes, it is. It's John O'Ross, I think, who is being dispatched to the sin bin. So penalty coming to Bath, and a yellow card for the Sale skipper John O'Ross.
Well, I think we'll almost certainly see... Oh no, Bath are going to take the points here. Surprised then, you thought they might have gone to the corner with Sale a man down, but as you said just now, Chris, it's important to get points on the board. Bath struggled to get a foothold in the game early on, and it looks as if Rhys Priestland is going to take the opportunity to try and put Bath into the lead.
Well, John O'Ross walking off the pitch here, shaking his head. He wants to have a little look at the replay. I don't think he's of a view that he was earning of a yellow card. Not many players often tend to think they are, but John O'Ross did seem genuinely aggrieved that that was given against him. The maul broke, and Ross was one of just a couple of Sale players left on the floor to scrap for the ball, and I think Matthew Carley probably concluding he was deliberately slowing down play, stopping Bath from having an opportunity to score. From the position they were in, it must have been close, if that was Carley's view, to a penalty try, but Sale spared that. But here is Priestland to try and give Bath the lead for the first time.
Priestland strikes the kick, and it's a good one. It's from this right-hand side towards us here in the AJ Bell stand on the 10-metre line in from the touchline, and it's a lead for Bath 25 minutes into this game. It's Sale Sharks 7, Bath Rugby 10.
Well, it suddenly unravelled for a bit here. for Sale, Ollie, down to 14 men, 7 points up to 10-7 down. So I'm guessing Ben Curry will take over as on-field skipper with Jono Ross sin-binned. This is a test of Sale's game management, I think, now, just to try and ensure that in this 10-minute period they don't go any further behind and can at least consolidate with the scoreboard as it is and really execute cleanly to try and mitigate from the absence of their skipper as much as they can.
It's a clean take from Faletau there, again at the restarts. Bath setting up for another kick. Ben Spencer's kick was good from the last restart and he'll go again here. Again, it's towards Luke James. A bit of an easier take here for James and he does take it. And he kicks back. AJ McGinty chasing after that. Faletau under it again and he knocks it forward. And this time it will be Sale ball. Faletau jumping up there to take the kick and a win for Sale there. We saw last time the value of a good chase from Bath and this time it was Sale chasing through AJ McGinty. He forces the mistake from Faletau in some good position here for Sale.
Well, that's a real bonus for Sale, isn't it? Toby Faletau, we know what he can do. Started all 3 tests at number 8 for the Lions in New Zealand in 17. He's a class player at international level. So for AJ McGinty to be able to disrupt him in that way and win the scrum is just the kind of thing Sale are going to need, particularly without Jono Ross at the moment, and to lay down a marker that says to Bath, you might have had a bit of momentum for a few minutes, but we're coming straight back at you. So good work from McGinty, who's kind of forced his way back in now, Ollie, to become the number 1 fly half. Rob Dupree and him alternated for a bit of the season. Dupree very much had the jersey early in the season, but since lockdown, McGinty's started 4 of the last 5, so he's really come back with a bang, hasn't he, into that shirt?
Well, he has, Chris. He was injured before lockdown, of course, and I think that is the value of the break. A lot of teams were able to come back with a clean bill of health. McGinty didn't start at 10 in that game against Harlequins, but he's come back in and he's taken his chance at someone else like Luke James. There's a few players in this squad that didn't start off at the restart, but now they're in the side. I think it shows that Steve Diamond will pick on form. You know, Simon Hammersley and Rob Dupree are both excellent players, but at the minute they've gone to have to play well to get these 2 out of the team.
And Sale have got a new blindside flanker here, Ollie. Marlon Yard packing down in this scrum. Can't be something he's done too often.
I do wonder whether they plan for that kind of thing. They must do, surely. They must know that if a back rower goes off, there's going to be someone who comes in. Sale packed down for the scrum. We've seen a couple of penalties in the last 2 scrummages as Matthew Carley blows, and we'll have another reset here. Both teams want to get the upper hand. Will Griff-John and Ben Urbano are having a great battle so far. No one quite able to get on top. But it's an excellent field position for Sale. 10 metres in from the right-hand touchline. Rohan Janssen van Rensburg stood outside AJ McGinty. I suspect we might see one of the centres come crashing up the middle here. And coming down for the scrum. It's a successful engagement this time. There's a bit of movement and there'll be a free kick to Sale. Bath pushing too early and Fatterberg will take it quickly and he gives it to Janssen van Rensburg. He gets Sale into the Bath 22. Here's Will Griff-John and has he lost the ball? It's gone backwards, says Matt Carley, and Sale keep it, but there's a Bath hands on it and I think they've turned it over. That's great work from Bath. Sale had the attacking opportunity, but it's a turnover and the West Country outfit have an opportunity to clear. They'll keep it in the forwards for now with Tom Dunn.
It was a real pity that, Ollie, wasn't it, when Sale had done so well to win the scrum and then win the free kick from it to lose the breakdown.
And it's an excellent clearance kick from Reece Priestland. It takes Bath up towards the halfway line. It will be a Sale line out on the Bath 22, and that's another example there of Sale not quite getting it right. The opportunities have been there, but just haven't been able to convert them, and I think that'll be disappointing for Steve Diamond because it's not like Sale haven't had a lot of ball.
That's true, and they've got to make sure that, particularly when they're down to 14 men, they execute these line-outs cleanly. Valerie Morozov has a little word with Akka van der Merwe there, but really important that Sale get good clean ball from this throw.
Jean-Luc Dupree at the front of the line-out. Where is Sale going to go here? They go to the back with Postlethwaite, and it's been stolen again. This Sale line-out really isn't working today, but it's charged down. Ben Spencer's kick is charged down by Matt Postlethwaite, but Bath retain the ball, and there's a long looping pass out to the left from Reece Priestland, and Bath have the chance to come away, but they kick away possession to Luke James up on the halfway line. Sale in possession, 10 metres in on the left hand side. McGinty to Alangi, the pass back inside to Janssen van Rensburg, but it's lost forward again It's not quite working for the Sale back so far today, and Bath are in possession just inside their own half. It's Abano out the back to Reece Priestland. Joseph in midfield, he tries to step around Morozov, he gives the dummy. There's a good tackle from Morozov, getting to Jonathan Joseph. I thought at one stage that the England man was going to get away from the Russian, but Bath retain possession. Here's Priestland again, he finds a gap.
Oh, what a good break.
Up towards the 22, McGinty tackles Priestland, but Bath have another great opportunity here. It's slow ball for Bath. Have Sale managed to turn it over? I think they have. That's great work on the floor. We can't quite see from our position who that was, but Sale have turned it over, and that was much needed because Bath had broken through there through Priestland, and Sale now have the opportunity to clear their lines, and it's de Klerk. A good box kick from the South African. It takes play up towards the halfway line, and Chris, Sale needed that there because Bath were really starting to get going.
Great break from Priestland, wasn't it? He might be 33, Reece Priestland, but he's still got a good turn of speed, and he cut through the midfield there. It did look for a moment that Bath could be in for their second try of the afternoon, but good cover tackle, and the Sale defence showing again the benefit of Mike Forshaw's organisation and how difficult they are to penetrate. Yes, Rory McConaughey got through in the first half, but Sale's defence really has been a feature of their campaign, and what's also helped them have such a good points difference thus far in it. But important tackle at important time as Sale continue here with 14 men and John O'Ross still on the sidelines.
Another Sale player down here, it's Will Griff-John this time, but he looks okay. He's back up on his feet as we have another stoppage with 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Sale Sharks 7, Bath Rugby 10, and a really important period coming up here because Bath have still got that one-man advantage and they want to make the most of that, but they had an opportunity there and Sale managed to scramble, and I think Sale have done that well a lot this season, especially when you've got those players that can get those turnovers at the breakdown, and Sale managed to clear the ball, but Bath keep it. Their line-out works well and they drive towards the Sale 22. Bath's line-out has been much the stronger so far, and they keep the ball and it goes out the back of the hand to Spencer and he chips into the 22 and it's rebounded off Marlon Yard, and Sale are forced to scramble again, and McGinty gives it right to Luke James and he clears this time, but it's straight down the throat of the Bath man over inside his own half. Just into the Sale, past the Sale 10 metre line. Bath with possession, they've got the advantage here. Spencer gives a long looping pass out to the left through Joseph. He looks for the chip over the top. Can Spencer get it back? He can. It's good defence there from Luke James, but Bath keep the ball. Have they scored in the corner? I think they might have done. Matthew Carley's looking at the screen. It's a nice chip from Jonathan Joseph, and Sale had to scramble back, and I think we're going to go to the TMO here.
Yeah, I think Stuart Tahij is going to have a look at this, our TMO this afternoon. But Bath once again showing, Ollie, that when they get in around that Sale 22, there's a confidence in their play, a confidence that's born from a team that have won 5 from 6 and studied with internationals. Good skill from Jonathan Joseph to chip ahead. Just checking that the chasing player was behind Joseph as he kicked through, and then whether the ball was successfully grounded without the player putting a foot in touch. It's right in the far corner from where we are stood. And we're having another look to see whether or not this gives us a cleaner angle on the grounding. Now it looks like the player landed just short of the line. Did he then get the ball down over the line before going into touch? It looked like there was probably a clean execution. Yes, indeed there was, and a shrill blast from Matthew Carley awards the try, and Bath extend their lead 15-7.
Well, it was a penalty advantage there that made that. Ben Spencer gave that long pass out to Jonathan Joseph. He could take that risk, and Joseph's kick over the top was a good one, and it allowed Spencer to gather the ball and just about get over the line. As you said, Chris, I think he was short to start with, but the Sale defenders coming across couldn't quite get to him, and he was just able to get the ball down. So I think it looks like it bounced up ahead as it came towards the line. And
great support play from Spencer though, wasn't it, to actually have a scrum half up with an outside centre wide on the left to be there to finish that off. I mean, it just shows you one, fitness, but also game awareness to spot the opportunity from the England scrum half. So credit to him for that. And 15-7 with the conversion to come now.
It's a difficult kick from Priestland. He tries to angle it in, and he does. That's a wonderful kick from the Welshman, and that extends Bath's lead to 7. And with 8 minutes remaining in this first half, is Sale Sharks 7, Bath Rugby 17. And Sale really need to try and get a foothold in this game because they started so well, they couldn't convert the points, and now it's a real uphill battle.
Well, what we often hear from directors of rugby in the Premiership, Ollie, is execution. And I think that's what we've seen from Bath so far this afternoon. Although they started sluggishly, they've executed their line out much better. They've executed some of their plays in the backs better. They've really offered a threat to the Sale line 3 times, and every time they've offered a threat, they've picked up points. On 2 of those occasions, converted tries. So what you're seeing here, I think, is an example of a team who've got momentum and form and confidence to know that when they can get into dangerous areas, they've got the quality to be able to turn them into points. And Sale have been kind of rather tucked up by Bath here, having had so much of the best of the first quarter of an hour. They're now trailing by 10.
Another good take there from Falatau from the restart. It gives Spencer the opportunity to kick. It's not quite as far this time. He's only able to get it just outside the Bath 22, and it's another attacking opportunity here for Sale. Can Van der Merwe get that throw-in right? And I'm sure already we know what Rob Webber's set piece is like. I wonder if Steve Brown will be looking about getting Webber on. I know he hasn't played in a while and match fitness is so difficult.
That'll be the question, won't it? How long does Steve think Rob Webber can go for? Can he do more than 20?
As John O'Ross waits down in front of us to come back on. He won't be back on the field just yet, so Sale will have to make do with 14. Can Van der Merwe get his throw right this time? It's a long one. It's to Van Rensburg, and he powers straight up the middle. A great throw, and Sale have a brilliant opportunity here inside the Bath 22, but it's a turnover. Van Rensburg was going at such pace, there was no support with him, and he ran straight into Sam Underhill, who, you know, is one of those players you don't want to run into with no support. And again, Bath turned the ball over, and you need to support those players in that situation, Chris, because we know what Sam Underhill can do, we know what the Sale back row can do, and Janse van Rensburg was all on his own there.
Well, it was a brilliantly executed line-out. Akker van der Merwe perhaps reflecting on the difficulty he's had with conventional throws this afternoon by hurling a ball way beyond the line-out and picking out Janse van Rensburg in midfield, as you say, but at the point at which Underhill tackled him, perhaps the unusual move had caught some of the Sale players unawares, and Van Rensburg found himself isolated, can't get the support, and concedes a penalty, with Underhill stopping him in his tracks, and Rohan Janse van Rensburg now getting some elongated attention from the Sale medical staff. Looks like he might have taken a bang to his head there. So we have another break in play with just under 7 minutes left in this first half. But it's been a bit of a bitty performance, I would say, from Sale so far. Ollie, one very well created try and some decent aspects of play in the opening part of this half, but line out still not really functioning, and as the half's gone on, Bath have looked ever more dangerous when they've had the opportunity to get in Sale territory, and whenever they've been there, they've banked the points.
Well, you're absolutely right, Chris. It's all been about converting your opportunities. Bath have done that and Sale haven't, and that's why Bath are ahead by 10 points, and that's something I'm sure Steve Diamond will look at half-time, making the most of those opportunities, like we saw when Janse van Rensburg went over early on in the game. And the centre's back up now, which is good news, but I do wonder whether we might potentially see some changes at half-time. Could Sale look to play a different way? Could we see a Sam James to try and open things up more? It'd be interesting to see, but Sale really need to try and get into the game here as Bath throw into the line out on the halfway line, straight off the top to the backs, and Jonathan Joseph has the ball.
Slow ball up for Bath. They didn't look in control of that movement at all, and Sale have the opportunity to take advantage here. A couple of passes that were a bit too far behind their intended recipients, but Bath are almost undone as Denny Solomona tries an interception which he just can't quite hold.
You've got to watch Denny Solomona in those situations. I've seen numerous times the England winger collecting the ball after a poor pass, and he almost did it again there. It's 2 hands out, so even though he knocked the ball on, it was an accidental knock on, so it's just a scrum to Bath. But you have got to watch Denny Solomona in those situations because he's so dangerous.
It's interesting though how rugby has evolved though, Ollie, because what we could see there was it was a rather laboured back movement, you know, passes that were slightly behind their intended recipient, and the line speed that defences have got now. Sale were right up on Bath, and then Solomona, as you say, within fingertips of claiming that and breaking through for a try under the stick. So it just shows you once more, unless you're really flat nowadays at this level, passing the ball crisply and hitting centres and 3/4 at speed, it does give the opposition the chance to really come up on you, and as soon as you get it wrong by a nanosecond, you can be in all sorts of trouble.
And it's a penalty to Bath at the scrum. It looked like Sale had got the drive on, but it's the Sharks who have been penalised. It's a man down for Sale. It looks like Jean-Luc Dupré, but he's back up on his feet, and another disappointing passage of play there for Sale. Not quite sure what Matt Carley saw, but he's penalised Valery Morozov, and there's a Bath penalty just on their 22-metre line, and Priestland can clear away again. It feels like Sale have conceded so many penalties in this first half, especially the latter part of it, and it's just handed all the momentum over to Bath. And Priestland's kicks have been excellent as well when they've had the penalty advantage, and with 4 minutes to go in this first half, is going to be Bath's chance to get more points on the board.
Well, this is a real test for Sale now, isn't it? This is an opportunity to test their credentials to win the Guinness Premiership this year. They come up against a side in real form. They're trailing by 10. They've lost the skipper to the sin bin. He's just returned, but they've still got 40 minutes plus the last 4 of this first half to turn this round, and they've got quality on the bench, but they've got a side up against them in form and at full strength. And this is a real opportunity for Steve Diamond to see what his side can do under pressure in a crucial part of the season.
It's a good line out from Bath, and they get the drive forward at the Morgue. That's good defence from Sal. Tuolangi making the tackle, and it pushes Bath back inside their own half, and Bath are forced to scramble a little bit. They do retain possession, but they're stuck on the halfway line at the minute. The Sal defence has been good. Bath drive it up again. Sale off the line again quickly. Spencer assessing his options. He gives it to Priestland in midfield. It's come to Matavesi. He runs straight into Ben Curry, and Ben Curry tries to get over the ball, but the Bath ruck is good, and Spencer is forced to kick, but he's charged down by Ben Curry, and Sale get the ball back through Tuolangi. It's a bit unneat, but Sale have possession on halfway. 3 minutes to go in this first half. It's slow ball. Faf de Klerk. Postlethwaite drives forward. Still on the halfway line. McGinty left to Tom Curry. Out the back to Janssen van Rensburg. Luke James tries to draw the man and gives it to Yard towards the left-hand touchline, and he's almost dragged into touch, but does well to keep the ball in play. And AJ McGinty tries to chip. He's got Tom Curry on his left. Gives it back to McGinty.
Superb.
What a wonderful try this might be, but what defence. Bath scramble well. I thought that was going to be a try for AJ McGinty. Sal need quick ball here. It's Matt Postlethwaite. He drives in. Faf de Klerk comes to the back of the ruck. There's men on the right. He assesses his options. John O'Ross has it for now. Sale just shy of the line. Can they get a try on the board before half-time? Here's to Klerk again. To Tom Curry out the back to Tuolangi, and he's lost the ball. And Hamer Webb picks it up, and Bath managed to clear. I thought Sale were in then, Chris.
It looked for all money, didn't it?
McGinty and Tom Curry combining excellently. And we thought from our angle up here, it's quite hard to see. We're a bit further back than we usually are. We thought McGinty was in, but the Bath scramble defence was excellent, and that was probably one of the reasons why someone like AJ McGinty's in the side. From broken play, he can do stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a brilliant little chip from McGinty. Catches his own chip, finds a way through, finds Curry back to McGinty. Lovely interchange between the two of them. It really was champagne rugby, and it did look like McGinty was going to score, but brought down a yard or two from the line, and then, as you mentioned, from the recycling, Manu Tuolangi not able to hold on. You wonder if that could be a big turning point, because if that had been a try for McGinty under the posts, definite conversion, 17-14 with 2 minutes to go, one penalty between the two teams at half-time. If Sale can't take advantage of this field position now, then 10 points looks a significantly different prospect as a deficit as you turn around in the interval. But terrific break from McGinty, really good skill, great link play from Tom Curry. It really would have been a try of the season contender, that one, if they'd finished it off. But McGinty brought down. Still a good position though for Sale, with a line out deep in the Bath 22. Can Van der Merwe find his man?
And they go to the front, and he is able to, and Jean-Luc Dupré collects the ball, but he drops it as he tries to come back down. But Sale do have the penalty. Under 2 minutes remaining here, and it'll be an interesting decision here for John O'Ross, and it's a bit of a scuffle on the floor. We're not sure if a punch has been thrown. It's hard to tell from where we are high in the AJ Bell stand.
Well, first time we've seen a bit of handbags between the forwards there, Ollie, this afternoon, but a good position this. I think Sale were perhaps looking to take that quickly. Bath hadn't retreated. And I think Sale were just looking to try and be opportunistic with a minute and a half left on the clock, but I wonder what's Faf de Klerk going to do here. Kick for the posts, or is de Klerk going to do a quick tap and go? Looks like Sale are going to try and gamble. turn away the opportunity for McGinty to reduce it. Looks to kick to the corner. And just about, I thought he might have overdone that and kicked it dead, but it's going to be the 5 metre line out, and Sale taking the gamble at the end of this half to try and get themselves over the whitewash.
I'm sure Faf de Klerk's heart skipped a beat there, Chris. It looked for all money that he might have kicked it over the dead ball line, but it's another poor line out. It's gone wrong for Sale. It's not straight, and these line outs in the first half are really what's costing Sale. They've had so many opportunities in the Bath 22 and it just hasn't gone right. Bath's line out has gone right, and that's been the difference between the sides. That's why Bath are leading this one by 17 points to 7, and another wasted opportunity.
Well, I think, Ollie, when you've got two sides as evenly matched as these two, you cannot afford not to secure your own line-out ball. You know, it's a crucial platform at this level of the game and at this point in the season, when you've got two teams slugging it out in the top 5, competing for one of those top 4 places come the end of the season. To have a line-out platform is an absolutely core part of the game, and Sale just haven't had that in this first half, and that's cost them there. They've turned down the opportunity for 3 relatively simple points, which would have reduced the deficit to 7. They've gone for an attempted try by kicking the ball out and trying to back themselves to win the line out and drive over. Haven't managed to do it, and it's now going to be a Bath put in with only a handful of seconds remaining, and I think Ben Spencer will just secure the hook and then turn around and pick his own ball up and kick it out of play, and that'll be half time, and Sale will have 10 points to chase in the second half. So I should think quite a bit of frustration for Steve Diamond as the scrum goes down and Bath win the penalty.
I think Ben Spencer there has just quick tapped that and kicked it over the dead ball line, and that's it for the first 40 minutes here at the AJ Bell Stadium. It all started so well for Sale. Rohan Janssen van Rensburg crashing over in the first 10 minutes, but since then it's been all Bath. Rory McConaughey going over for his 7th try since the restart. We've seen a couple of penalties from Reece Priestland, and Ben Spencer going in that left-hand corner after an excellent kick from Jonathan Joseph. So at half-time here at the AJ Bell Stadium, it's Sale Sharks 7, Bath Rugby 17.
Okay, welcome back. Sale Sharks 7, Bath 17. I'm joined by Byron. Thanks for joining us, mate. First thing, what's that half-time talk going to be like, do you think?
I think we'll be a little bit disappointed in ourselves. You know, some poor reads on defence that's pretty uncharacteristic from us. So I think we'll be a little bit disappointed, but easy fixes, I'd like to believe. So I'm sure they'll just talk about that, fine-tune that, and just try to be more clinical in the final third, because we've had opportunities, we've just not taken them. So at the moment, Bath's playing very well, but in the next 40 minutes, I'm sure after a good talking there by Steve about being more clinical and more detailed on our defence, then we should be better for it.
You look at our first 10 minutes, we looked ferocious, we looked clinical in our first 10 minutes. What do you think was the turning point then, where that first 10 minutes of ferociousness stopped? Was that Bath or was that down to us, do you think?
No, we got to give Bath credit. They're a very good side, and we knew that coming into today. So they're going to have spells in this game where they're going to put pressure on us, and they've capitalised very well. Like I said a few times, just our defensive reads weren't quite good enough. But easy fixes, like I said, so I can't really take anything away from Bath. It's been some good attack. They've exposed us pretty well. They've obviously done their homework, but I like to believe they're easy fixes, and that will hopefully change the final 40.
You see some of those turnovers we're getting were really good, and we actually, so with that pressure, so the pressure's there, obviously. It looks like the pressure's there. It's, like you say, I think executing it in the right position on the field where it matters the most. A couple of line-outs in the 22, I think it's important to take those, develop those, I think. So, yeah, I guess it must be a lot of pressure on the lads, though, knowing how important this game is to do that. How, from your sense as a player, how do you do that? Do you let the pressure get on top of you or do you look around everybody else and take from them?
Well, of course there's pressure. There's definitely always pressure. We know we want to win games. We've got a very competitive team that wants to win, make the top 2 to be honest. And I think we've got to sort out the line out too. I mean, I'm sure the forwards coach will try and tweak a few things there. We're slipping up quite a lot there. So hopefully there's quick fixes there. Pressure, yeah, pressure is a good thing. You don't want to go into a game without the pressure. You want to make sure that, like I said, we've mentioned pressure about 100 times. That, yeah, the pressure brings the best out in you, I would like to believe. So pretty sure we'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. So we're here. There's no fans here. We'll talk about at the top of the show. It's really, it's a different atmosphere. You guys have got a massive role to play here today. Sat here, cheering the lads on, I guess, as well. And there's a whole thing where you feed off that energy, I guess, where the fans are. What is that like at the moment, not having them around?
You know what, we're all professionals, so the way we train during the week is the way we're going to play. We know that there's no crowds, we're prepared for that. So, but I mean, on the same breath, yeah, we've got a few players here to support and shout for the lads. We're a very close-knit group, so it's quite easy to cheer for our teammates. I'm sure they can hear us, as is there's no other fans, so they'll feed off that little bit of energy, but they're in the zone. They're so focused on their roles, so yeah, it should be fine.
And for you yourself personally as a player, how desperate are you to be on that field right now?
Oh,
Things that you feel you can change and make an influence on at the moment?
Look, I always back myself. I think the wingers are doing a good job. So yeah, I would love to be out there, to be honest. My season's at a standstill. I'm not sure if I'll play again for this current season, but hopefully I'll be working hard to try and get back for the semi-final, final weeks, just to try and get training. But the wingers are doing a great job. We've got great depth. We've got Aaron Reid and Roebuck as well, so very confident in what they can do.
I think that's what you said about your role as a player. It's a big squad, it's all helping each other on. It's not just individuals. That's why we love this team and this club so much. We are a club of people, a team, and I think we do miss everybody around. I certainly miss running around, taking the mickey out of the fans and stuff. I guess, you know, we hope for that to come back soon, I guess, don't we?
Oh, 100%. I must be honest, the crowds here definitely is like a 16th man, you know. It's nothing quite like the Sale Sharks fan, in my opinion. They really get behind us, even if it's not sold out. It sounds like it's sold out. They're really passionate. They really care about this team, and we really care about them. Obviously, it's a massive miss for us, but you know, hopefully they can be back soon, and yeah, they'll be great for both sides.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you very much for taking some time to talk to us today.
It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
All good. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Cheers. And listen, if you're at home and you players, we're desperate to hear them. Get on, tell us about what you think of that first half. 10 points down, we've come from deeper places before. Listen, get on the Zoom, get on the Twitter, get on the Snapchat, get on the YouTube, get on the other social media networks, Twitter, Facebook and all the others. We're going to cut to a nice little wide shot so I can have a cup of tea, and we'll be back with Ollie and Chris very soon. See you shortly. Okay, Sale Sharks fans, welcome back to Sale Sharks Live here at the AJ Bell Stadium. Listen, if you want to reach out to these players, send us some text, send us some tweets, send us some Instagram posts, also get onto Facebook and carry a pigeon. We will try and read out your questions and your concerns and your thoughts about the match today. Before we get into this second half as the players come out, I'm going to hand you over to Chris and Ollie is going to just give us a rundown of the scores around the ground. Ollie.
Yes, thanks Colin. So earlier today Wasps beat Bristol 59-35. That takes Wasps currently up to second courtesy of that bonus point. Bristol did get a try losing bonus point for scoring 4 tries. Elsewhere at Welford Road, Leicester lead Northampton by 28 points to 17, and at the Stoop, London Irish's temporary home, it's Worcester Warriors with a 7-5 lead over London Irish. So some scores from elsewhere today. Later on, Saracens host Exeter, of course, a rematch of last year's final, but things in terms of teams look a lot different there to that game at Twickenham last June. So we're coming up, approaching this second half now, Chris. Steve Diamond's back in position, and it's going to be important that Sale get off to a good start, get that momentum back that they had early in that first half.
Yeah, the first few exchanges of the second half you think would be really important, Ollie, and also the 2 benches. I'm sure, as you say, we will see plenty of changes in this second half. Interesting 6-2 bench from Bath. So Stuart Hooper, their director of rugby, clearly thinking that a likely physical encounter from Sale this afternoon will mean he needs to change a number of his forwards. He's only got the 2 backs on the bench, Will Chudley, the replacement scrum half, and of course Cameron Redpath, a man we know very well here at the AJ Bell, normally a centre, although he can play in other positions in the back line. So a 6-2 bench from Bath. Sale with the traditional 5-3 bench. Sam James on the bench amongst the backs. Rob Webber, as we were discussing in the first half, is an option if Steve Diamond wants to try and tighten the line-out up, and that has really been a problem for Sale, as we were discussing in the first half, not having that reliable quality ball on their own throw, and that's been really the difference between the sides, the execution of the line-out and Bath's sharpness really in the Sale 22 to take every opportunity that they have had. And 10 points, well, it's not an insurmountable mountain, but it is still a significant lead for the visitors to have at half-time. And when you get into a winning mentality like Bath have had, they've won their last 3 away matches, they're in really good form, and they will think they've given themselves every opportunity to close out this. And if Sale do lose this game, it's going to make the table mighty congested as we go into the last 2 rounds, because you're going to have Wasps on 61 points, Sale on 59, Bristol on 59, and Bath on 59 potentially, possibly 60 if they were to get a bonus point. So it is going to become very, very tight, and suddenly it starts to slip from being in Sale's own hands to being something that's a little bit looking over your shoulder, looking around at how other teams are doing. So really important next 40, and if Sale can recover this and win, then they are 1 foot into the last 4.
And the teams are back out on the pitch now. We'll give you a rundown of the sides at the first break, but it appears initially there's been no further changes at half-time, but we'll confirm that at the first stoppage. Sale kicking off with AJ McGinty towards the UK fast stand. And McGinty kicks towards Josh Matavesi. No, it's just in front of him, and well taken by Charlie Ewells, the Bath captain. And Bath drive forward just outside their own 22. It's come to floor. I think Sale have done well there to hold that up. It's John O'Ross in that maul, and already a perfect chance to get this second half off the right foot, Chris.
Really positive start from Sale on the floor there. Aka van der Merwe right in the heat of the battle there, and we talked about those opening exchanges, didn't we? Just trying to set a bit of a tone for the second half. And Sale, I'm sure they've had some tough messages from Steve Diamond in that dressing room, and probably from John O'Ross as well. First blood to them, and an opportunity here for Faf de Klerk to put into this scrum 10 yards or so outside of the Bath 22.
First chance here in the second half to Sale then. It's 10 metres in from the right-hand side towards us here in the AJ Bell stand. Denny Solomona stood directly behind the scrum, the rest of the Salebacks to the left of it. And Matt Carley blows up. I'm going to have a reset here, as we saw often in the first half. Scrums haven't quite been particularly consistent on either side. Neither's been able to get the upper hand. Perhaps Bath winning this contest a little bit in the first period, but this contest between Ben Urbano and Will Griff John has been one that's been quite equal. And we go in again, this time at the scrum, and it's dropped to the floor, and Matt Cardy blows up again, and we'll have a reset. I'm sure he won't want to see too much more of this, and we might see someone penalised if the scrum goes down again.
And Will Griff John turning to Luke Pearce, who is running touch just in front of us, and suggesting that Benno Urbano was to blame there and perhaps was burrowing in at an angle. thus far, as you say, Matt Carley not coming down on one side or the other, but you get the impression if this scrum goes down that one of the two front rows will be penalised.
We'll try for a third time this scrum. Give you the teams at the next stoppage, and it's a free kick to Sal, and Fatakler takes it quickly, gives it to Denny Solomona, out the back to McGinty. He looks for the long pass, but it's just behind Luke James, but the youngster does well to keep the ball, and he's driven towards the touchline. He does well to keep it in, and it's Tuolangi, but Bath have pushed Sal back well there. We're in between the Bath 10-metre line and the Bath 22. John O'Ross drives forward. Sal not really going anywhere for now, but they've kept the ball. McGinty, and it's knocked on by Will Griff-John, and Bath have the turnover, and Jonathan Joseph kicks towards the Sal 22. It's a good kick from the centre, and Sal are forced to scramble back. It's Marlon Yard. He tries to beat the first man, but he's well tackled. Sal get the ball back out again. It's a knock-on from AJ McGinty. Not the best period of play there from the Sharks, and Bath will have the scrum just outside the Sal 22, and the opportunity to attack the Sal backline again, as they so often did in the first half. And we'll have a quick rundown of the teams here. 3 minutes into the second half. So the Sal side, Luke James at fullback, Denny Solomona, Marlon Yard on the wing, Rohan Janssen van Rensburg and Manu Tuolangi in the centres, AJ McGinty at fly half, Faf de Klerk at scrum half, Valerie Morozov and Will Griff-John at the props, Akke van der Merwe as hooker, Matt Poffelswaite and John Luke Dupree in the second row, John O'Ross and Ben Curry are the flankers, and Tom Curry at number 8. Give you the Bath team in just a moment as they scrum down again. Bath ball, 10 metres from this left-hand side, but it's a Sal penalty this time. A bit of revenge there for the Sharks, because Bath have won the last few penalties at the scrum, and a chance for Faf de Klerk to clear the ball away. We'll give you that Bath team now. Full-pack Tom de Glanville. On the wings, Gabriel Hamer-Webb and Rory McConaughey. In the centres, Josh Matavesi and Jonathan Joseph. The half-backs are Ben Spencer and Reece Priestland. The props are Ben Urbano and Will Stewart. Tom Dunn is the hooker. Josh McAnally and Charlie Yours are in the second row. Tom Ellis is on in the back row for Josh Bayliss, which is rounded off by Sam Underhill and Toby Falatau. It'll be a Sharks line out just inside the Wasps half, and there's a bit of handbags there. Matt Poffelswaite pushes Charlie Yours. He's clearly not happy with the amount of space he's been given at the line out. And Sal will throw in, and it's a good throw. Matt Poffelswaite takes it, and an opportunity, but McGinty spills it again. Has that gone forward? Matt Carley looks like for a minute there he's about to blow his whistle, but he hasn't. It said he's gone backwards, and Sal keep the ball. It's Akke van der Merwe. Sal inside their own half. They've gone backwards a little bit here, and de Klerk to the left-hand side. Slow ball here for Sal. Bath doing well in defence, getting off the line quickly, and it looks like de Klerk will play the territorial game and look for the kick. He kicked well in the first half, did the South African international. And it's towards de Glanville. Is he going to be out on the full? Not quite. It's a good hit from Marlon Yard. It's a bit of handbags again, back at where the ruck was, but nothing too bad, I don't think, and we play on.
I'm not sure, really. I think there was a bit more than a bit of handbags there. I don't know whether Matt Carley might have that brought to his attention by one of the touch judges, but there was a few fists going in, I think, then. But looks like at the moment it's play on.
And Ben Spencer clears. Is that out on the full? It is, and it'll be a Sal line out back inside the back half. Faf de Klerk races back towards the referees and tries to take it quickly, throws it straight into a Bath man, and Matt Carley's not having any of that, and it'll be a Sal line out just outside the Bath 22.
All a bit frenetic, Ollie, at the start of this second half, isn't it? All a little bit frenetic. Neither side able to really get hold of the ball and use it in the way that they would want to. It's been a little bit bouncy, and neither side really able to get into rhythm as yet. But Sale in a decent field position here.
Sal's first line out of this second half went well. Matt Poffelswaite made the catch. Can they get it right again here? They can. It's Poffelswaite up again. It's a bit scrappy, but Sal keep the ball, and it comes out to AJ McGinty, who tries to burst through the Bath defence, but he's hauled down. Sal keep the ball. It's John O'Ross up towards the Bath 22. He rolls forward again. Sal are now inside that Bath 22. It's Akke van der Merwe. He does well to get over the gain line. Sal building up a bit of momentum now. De Klerk, McGinty, he gives the dummy and goes into contact. De Klerk again. Luke James, just in from this right-hand touchline. He does well. Sal building some momentum here. Bath will click off the line again. That's Sam Underhill makes the tackle, but John-Luke Dupree does well to keep the ball. Some cries of hi from the Sale non-playing players, but nothing in. The ball comes out to Tuolangi, and the pass to Yard was behind him.
That was a real opportunity, Ollie. There was 3 on 2 there. Sale not able again to execute.
But Sale still have the ball. Benabano out of the line quickly to meet Will Griff John. Sale just outside the Bath 22. They've gone backwards a little bit here. Here's Morozov, a good carry from him. He gets over the game line. De Klerk again. McGinty dummies it again. Matavesi was quick out of the line then to prevent McGinty giving him a long pass, and Sale keep the ball. John O'Ross. Good defence from Bath, to be fair. Sale have had possession for a long time now, but Bath have done well. And Bath, Sale do win the penalty advantage. That was Tom Dunn not rolling away, and an interesting decision here for John O'Ross. The penalty 10 metres in on this left-hand side. It'd be a tricky kick from AJ McGinty, or will Sale look to go to the corner?
Well, the lack of players being committed to the rucks is meaning that there's this blanket of yellow shirts. Very difficult for Sale to penetrate. And we are seeing this now. So few players on either side committed to the ruck. It does give limited room, so you've really got to have, as you said, either somebody like Morozov breaking the gain line to punch a bit of a hole, or a bit of quick feet and creativity in the three-quarter line to punch that gap. Otherwise, the defences are really holding out well. But as you say, Tom Dunn going off his feet, Sale getting the penalty, and now Akke van der Merwe has a chance to throw in from a really dangerous place.
Can the South African hooker get this one right? He couldn't in the first half, but Sale need this here. It's a bit of confusion, but Sale do eventually get the ball in the line. It's a good catch from John-Luc Dupree, and an opportunity here for Sale. Van der Merwe breaks off the back. He's on his own at the minute, but Tom Curry's over the ball. Ben Curry carries in. Sale 5 metres out from the Sale line. It's Tuolangi. Can he get over the gain line? He's hauled down well from Matavesi. Faf de Klerk again. Sale short of the line now. Faf de Klerk. Will Griff John tries to get over the line, but he's hauled down. What an opportunity this is for Sale. There's a man down here on this near side. We can't quite see who it is, and Sale goes to the left, and it's Van der Merwe to Marlon Yard, and it looks like that might be a try. No, it's not. I believe Van der Merwe's pass has been adjudged forward by Matt Carley, and for all that good work, Sale are going to come up short.
Well, that could be really crucial. We said in the first half, the AJ McGinty break that was halted just before the line could be crucial. Well, that really, well, a massive moment. 2-on-1, straightforward put away in the corner, you'd think, to Marlon Yard, and Akke van der Merwe's pass, just looking at it again on the rerun, the ball is clearly going forward. So that's a 7-point gift really to Bath for the fact that Sale couldn't take advantage of that, and after a good passage of play, I'm sure that'll be a cause of much frustration to the Sale players and coaches. Big moment.
I don't think Yard quite timed his run there, did he, Chris? He didn't quite have the depth, and he'd already overran Akke van der Merwe by the time he'd thrown the pass. And as you just said there, Chris, there's another opportunity wasted, another chance to reduce the deficit, and Bath have scrambled well again in defence to hold out Sale, and they retain their 10-point lead as we take another break. It's been a bit stop-start this game throughout. Some man down here. It's one of the Currys down. Can't quite see from where we are which one it is. I think it might be Ben.
Yeah, it's Ben Curry. Yeah.
Who's down with maybe a neck injury, so no chances taken. Sale do have Dan Dupree on the bench should he be needed. He started the last 2 games, so not allowed to start a third in a row. But perhaps he might be required here as Ben Curry gets back to his feet.
I mean, the encouragement for Steve Diamond there, Ollie, is that his side have created the opportunity. You know, they've come out of this half-time break, and in the opening 9 minutes of the second half, they've had most of the possession and most of the territory. They've looked the better side. It started the second half very much like the first half did, with Sale in the ascendancy. But what we've also seen is, again, Sale's lack of sharpness in execution in the way that Bath have taken every opportunity they've had to pick up points when they've been in Sale territory. Sale haven't been able to do that in response. So whilst they probably can look across the stats of the game and think, well, we've had the upper hand for much of the game, it's all about what you do when you're in that opportunity to pick up points. Can you take advantage? Can you use the opportunities when you get close to the opposition line and take them and put points on the board? And that's been the difference between the two sides thus far this afternoon, and that's what Sale have got to change if they want to get something out of this match.
And Ben Curry is coming off here, perhaps for a HIA. Maybe he will be able to come back on, but his day may well be over as number 20 Dan Dupree comes on for Sale Sharks, and his first action will be to get down for a scrum that Bath have on their own 5 metre line on the far side towards that big screen. And I'm sure Bath will want to clear their lines here and try and get some territory in the second half, because it has been all Sale so far in this opening 10 minutes of the second period, like it was in that first half. Sale dominating the early exchanges, but nothing on the scoreboard to show for it yet.
Dan Dupree on the Iron Man, Ollie. 5 starts in the 7 games since lockdown, and the other 2 occasions he's been on the bench. Doesn't seem to do tired, Dan.
It's the kind of player you want in your team, Chris. Is Bath get the drive on it, the scrum, and they win the penalty. They've certainly started to take over at the set piece, Bath, and an opportunity here for Reece Prieston to clear his lines, and another disappointing moment at the set piece for Sale. They haven't quite got going there today, and you do wonder whether in the front row we might start to see some changes in the next 5 minutes.
Well, Connor Eustason, Jake Cooper-William, Rob Webber, all available. 3 highly experienced operators who could all come on and freshen up that front row area for Steve Diamond. Can see Steve Diamond's on his feet with his coaching staff at the moment. He'll be contemplating changes. 10 minutes played in this second period, so this is about the time when changes can be made. And just as we say this, Connor Eustason and Jake Cooper-Woolley appear off the Sale bench. It looks like Valerie Morozov and Will Griff-John's days are done very soon.
It's a line out pretty much on halfway. It's Bath ball, and yours is up to take it well. The Bath line-outs function well today, and they look to get another drive on, and they've been halted by the Sale forwards for now. Referee Matthew Carley warns Ben Spencer that that's once, but Bath keep the ball in the maul. And they're still going forward. It's gone to floor, and it looks like Sale might have turned this over. They have good work at the maul there from the Sale forwards, and they've got the scrum, and we're going to see the entire front row changed here. Rob Webber, Connor Eustason and Jake Cooper-Woolley all coming on. Rob Webber, for his first game since the restart, having come back, is a bit of injury cover. There was some concern that Akke van der Merwe might have a bit of a serious knock, but of course he's played today, and a chance here for Rob Webber in this last half hour to make an impact with Valerie Morozov, Akke van der Merwe and Will Griff-John all leaving the field.
Well, triple change then from Steve Diamond, as you say, and a bit of a gamble this, because Rob Webber's fitness, I'm sure, will have been assessed as he rejoined the squad, but he did have a significant period over in Jersey since he thought he'd finished with the Sharks back in March. So half an hour he's got to get through, but his game management, his experience, I'm sure will come to pass now, Ollie. And it's the opportunity for Webber to try and influence once more for the Sale Sharks from the bench as their starting front row all come off and earn the applause of their non-playing colleagues.
Sam James, another man down on this touchline who's stripped and ready to come on. Would imagine he'll come on in the centre for either Tuolangi or Janse van Rensburg. Add a bit more flair to that Sale midfield. Tuolangi and the South African Van Rensburg, definitely the power types. And I'm sure James will want to come on and try and make an impact as that scrum is again reset. This second half hasn't really flowed at all. There's been a lot of resets, a lot of mistakes, and this is what Bath are going to be happy with. They've got the 10-point advantage, Chris, and they'll be happy for these scrums to keep getting resets, and it's up to Sale to try and get the game flowing and moving again.
Yeah, I'm just listening to Matthew Carley through the ref link, and he's saying to Rob Webber, just try and get your foot up and let's have the stability like we had last time. So Carley talking to the front rows to try and get this scrum cleanly executed.
And we try again at this scrum, both front rows eager to get in, and it's an entirely new front row for Sale, and it's a solid scrum, and it's picked up off the back by Dupree. De Klerk Tuolangi runs the dummy line to McGinty, who gives it to Janse van Rensburg, who does well to get Sale into the Bath half. Here's Dan Dupree, gets his hands on the ball. A good carry from him and bursts towards the Bath 22. Sale used the short side. It's Tuolangi. Solomona, my apologies. And Sale are into the Bath 22. Akke van der Merwe forced to do the rock-in. And it's Luke James who acts as scrum half. Johnny Ross, AJ McGinty, he gives a dummy, and he gives a little pass to Jean-Luc Dupree. He dummies towards the line. Can he get over? He can. That's a lovely Sharks try. It was made by AJ McGinty again. A deft touch in midfield, a nice dummy. He gave it to Jean-Luc Dupree, who beat the final man to go over for Sale's second try. Chris, what a wonderful score that was.
Beautifully taken by Jean-Luc Dupree. Only his second try of the season, but a crucial time to score it. Beautifully made, and Sale now at last showing showing how to execute and finishing off one of the moves that they've threatened to pick up points with on more than one occasion previously in the game, and that brings them right back into this battle here with the conversion to come from AJ McGinty. Excellent try, Jean-Luc Dupré, great power to the line and a bit of a turn of pace as well for a second row.
Well, McGinty threatened that in the first half, didn't he, Chris, with that little chip over. He's got that moment of brilliance in him, and he produced it again there. The dummy, the offload, and you're not going to stop Jean-Luc Dupré from there. He's got so much pace and power for someone who plays in the second row, and it's an excellent score, and the Sale non-playing players definitely appreciated that one. Trying to get that atmosphere going here at the AJ Bale with obviously no fans in attendance, and just while AJ McGinty lines up the conversion, Sam James has come onto the field to replace Rohan Janse van Rensburg. So a slight change of tact there with James on in the midfield. This kick 10 metres in from us here on the right hand side. A tricky one for McGinty, he's missed one already today. It's a bit of a wind as well. The silence falls around the ground. Important kick here. McGinty strikes and it goes to the left hand side of the post. It never really looked like going over, so Bath lead is 5, 14 minutes into this second half. Sale Sharks 12, Bath Rugby 17, and that's given a new lease of life to this game. It felt like a moment of brilliance was needed, didn't it, Chris, because things had gone a bit flat.
And we certainly had one. It was a beautifully made try. I think AJ McGinty will be a bit disappointed with the conversion attempt, but actually a great charged out from Gabriel Hamer-Webb there, where he almost got to charging that conversion down, and I wonder whether that put off McGinty as he just about struck that ball at that moment. Hamer-Webb sprinting at him may have made a bit of a difference, but could be crucial, those 2 points lost. But Sale, as you say, right back in it, just 5 points behind now.
Sale do well from the restart there. Opportunity to clear their lines from this ruck. McGinty with the de Klerk with the box kick, and it's up towards the Sale 10 metre line. It'll be a Bath line out, but de Klerk's kicking's been good today, as has Ben Spencer's actually. Both scrum halves have been good at the back of the ruck, and Bath finally get an opportunity in the Sale half, in this second half. I can't remember in this first 15 minutes, Chris, them even touching the ball very often.
No, they've had certainly almost no time in Sale territory, which was not dissimilar to the way that the first half opened, but they've still got a lead and they've still got 25 minutes in which to preserve that lead and potentially pick up the win. So they won't be too concerned at this point, I don't think, Stuart Hooper's men, and they've got a bit of possession now in a few phases.
It's a nice line out from Bath, and a couple of phases since then, and they got the ball on the Sale 10 metre line in the centre of the field. Spencer gives it to Sam Underhill. He drives in towards Rob Webber. Sale try and win the turnover, but Bath retain possession. It's come back to Prieston. He tries to charge down. It's charged down by Matt Postlethwaite, but Bath keep the ball. Tom de Glanville getting the ball back, and it's a turnover. There's a Sale man over the ball. It looks like it's Tom Curry. Of course it is Tom Curry. And Sale again here getting that upper hand in the second half, and a chance for Faf de Klerk to pin Bath deep inside their own half.
Well, great work from Matt Postlethwaite initially with the charge down. It's the second time in this game, Ollie, that Postlethwaite's speed from the line has helped him get there to get a charge down, and that's what started that series of play, which Tom Curry then finished off with his trademark jackling on the floor. So Sale getting a bit of momentum now. Rob Webber can come forward and launch this line out deep in the Bath 22, and Sale continuing with the momentum from that Jean-Luc Dupré try with just under 24 minutes to play. Will Cliff, the replacement scrum half, available on the bench for Sale today as Bath make a change. Josh McNally comes off, Will Spencer comes on in the second row, and I'm sure we'll see plenty more of the impact substitutes in the remaining time that we have. Perfect day for running rugby. Opportunity for fresh legs late in this game as some of the players tire. Warm afternoon here in Salford as Rob Webber prepares to throw.
Webber with his first throw of the match, his first since the restart. And can he get that one right? I'm sure Steve Bunn will want to see it. And it's stolen by Bath, and the line-out just hasn't functioned at all today for Sale. Charlie, yours getting up there, and another opportunity wasted for Sale, and Bath have the ball on the 22, but again it's Tom Curry over the ball, and Sale win the penalty, and this is very, very kickable, and I do wonder whether we might see AJ McGinty have a go at this one, Chris.
Well, Benno Urbano penalised there by Matthew Carley for holding on, and this gives AJ McGinty the chance to have a kick at the posts, about 18 metres or so in from the right touchline, and a real opportunity here for McGinty to reduce the deficit to just 2 points. So Sale continuing to chip at this Bath lead. Yeah, disappointing there for Rob Webber. Ollie, I'm sure Webber would have gone through in his mind last night, this morning, when he got to the ground, that first throw, a bit like a golfer getting to the first tee in the Open. You know, you haven't done it for a while, you just want to get up there and get it right, and I'm sure it would have been something he was desperate to do to win that first line out. It didn't happen, but credit to the Sale forwards, they were straight back on it, and as Benno Urbano charged forward, brought down by a combination of Curry and Ross, Urbano holds on, Sale have the penalty, and a real chance here for McGinty to drag the lead back to just 2 points.
Real tough for a player for Webber to come back, having not played for so long, and get that first line out right, especially when you've got your mind on coach and you think your career's over, and then you come back and play in a big game like this. So I'm sure he'll want to get that turned around, as McGinty has the chance here to get Sale back within 2, and he does that. An excellent kick from AJ McGinty, and that takes Sale up to 15 points, only 2 behind Bath now on 17. And as in the first half, it was Bath who built up that momentum as the half went on, but it's been all Sale early in this second half, and it's Bath's turn to feel on the back foot, and they'll make a change here. Cameron Redpath looks to be warming up to come on against his former club, of course, left Sale back in February, I believe, to join Bath. He'll be on against his former employers in the next couple of minutes, and it's a good take from the kick. Sale have the ball just inside their own 22. Again, it looks like it's being set up for de Klerk to box kick away. All rather slow ball for now. That won't bother de Klerk. He'll just want to get a clean strike on this and take Sale up the field, which he's able to. That looks a decent kick from de Klerk. It's gone out on the Sale 10-metre line. A chance here for Bath to finally get some structure going in their second half. They've really, really struggled. They haven't been anywhere near the Sale line. As Cameron Redpath does come on, it's Matavesi coming off. So a change from Bath's tactics perhaps as well. Matavesi, the big man in midfield, more of a crash ball centre. You're going to see Redpath and Joseph operating, and quick hands, I'm sure, will be the order of the day there. They're going to try and win this game with some flair in the centres.
Matavesi also played in midweek as well, which might be a factor for him. He looks very tired, the Fijian, as he comes off, and perhaps unsurprisingly, having played in the victory over Worcester in the match on Wednesday night.
It's a clean line out from Bath, and they keep the ball, and they've got it in the Sale half as Webber tries to make a nuisance of himself. Slow ball for Bath. Spencer at the foot of the ruck, and he gives it to Tom Dunn. And this might be another turnover. It isn't. This time it's Sale penalised. Jake Cooper-Willie not rolling away. And Priestland this time will have the opportunity. Puts the ball down on the field, and I'm sure he'll try and respond to McGinty's 3 points here.
Yeah, Jake Cooper-Willie penalised there for rolling across the tackle. And this is going to give Rhys Priestland the chance to pick up 3 points, which I think Bath will see as a real bonus, Ollie, because they've not ventured anywhere near the Sale line in this second half. They've barely touched the Sale 22, and an infringement by Cooper-Willie just inside the Sale 10-metre gives Rhys Priestland something that I think he'll see as very kickable. About 15 metres in from the right touch line. Bit of a wind blowing around. When isn't there? Here at the AJ Bell, even on a 23 degrees late summer afternoon, but Priestland will fancy his chances with this one, and this will give Bath a 5-point lead again if he can land it.
Not the easiest of kicks, this one, Chris, but as you said, Rhys Priestland can deal a bit of a hammer blow here to Sale, because it has been all Sale in this second half, and this is Bath's first real opportunity, and Priestland strikes it from our angle straight down the middle, and Bath get on the scoreboard despite doing virtually nothing in this second half to extend their lead to 20 points to 15 as we take the drinks break in the second half.
Well, intriguing final quarter set up, Ollie, as you say, the Sale coaching staff come on with the bottles of water. Pete Anglesey jogging on there, and a chance for the two captains to address their troops, Jono Ross and Charlie Yules. Well, it's set up beautifully. 5-point game. 19 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock, which looks back at Ollie Lathrop and I from the middle of the Printerland stand here at the AJ Bell. Weather still perfect for running rugby. A little bit of a breeze, but a lovely sunny afternoon, blue sky. Those floodlights still beaming down on the AJ Bell, though making, you'd have thought, relatively little difference to anyone needing a little bit more light this afternoon. I can't believe you'd need some extra lux booming out from those, but nonetheless they've been on from the start and continue to be so. The changes that we've seen, of course, Sale changing their whole front row. Morozov, Van der Merwe and John off. Oosthuizen, Webber and Cooper Woolley on. Daniel de Prier has also entered the fray as well in the back row in place of Ben Curry. And Sam James on for Rohan Janse van Rensburg. Changes too for Bath, with Cam Redpath on for Josh Matavesi, and we saw much earlier in the game Josh Bayliss replaced by Tom Ellis. 19 minutes to go. You're listening to Sharks Live. Don't forget, you can tweet us, you can message us through Facebook or through YouTube. Use the hashtag Sharks Live with your questions, your thoughts, your comments. Are you confident Sale can get back in this? Where are you listening to the coverage from this afternoon? How far can Sale go this season? Could it be Premiership glory for them again as they pursue a first playoff spot since 2006? And of course we knew what followed after that. Glory at Twickenham for Jason Robinson, Philippe Saint-André and all the other heroes in blue on that day. Sale Sharks 15, Bath 20. Rob Webber preparing to throw. Gets some messaging from Kuni Oosthuizen at the front of the Sale line-out, 5 metres inside the Sale half. Webber waits and this time goes to the middle and picks out Dan du Preez, but du Preez is robbed of that ball. It looked like he had it, but Bath are able to break clear with Will Spencer, their replacement, second row, and it's another Bath penalty coming, and it's a yellow card. A yellow card for Rob Webber, and the yellow has come out quickly, and this is not the return that Rob Webber would have wanted. He's only been on the field of play a handful of minutes. He shakes his head, but Rob Webber is dispatched. A yellow card issued by Matthew Carley, and that's going to leave Sale without a hooker, and will mean Aka van der Merwe will have to come back on if we've got a scrum or a line out. Picking the ball up from the floor and throwing it back on his own side is what Matthew Carley is explaining. I can pick up on the ref link, and it's going to give Rhys Priestland another opportunity to kick a goal. And suddenly, Ollie, it's unravelled for Sale again. They got back to within a couple of points. 2 silly errors, and potentially they're going to be looking at 8-point deficit once more in a moment.
Well, the momentum's really gone out of the game, Chris. We saw in that first sort of 15 minutes of the second half that it was all Sale. Bath were struggling to stem the tide of the Sale pressure, but 2 silly penalties, and Priestland's going to have another opportunity here to extend Bath's lead as he comes up to strike the ball, and he does so, and Bath extend their lead to 8 points, and suddenly when you thought Sale were on their way back into the game, Priestland strikes twice, and suddenly it's an uphill struggle again for the Sharks, Chris, which...
Well, it was a 10-point deficit at half-time, and Sale got it back down to 2. We're now back up to 8 again, so it's going to take a bit of inspiration from somebody in blue to penetrate that Bath blanket defence again, you'd feel, in the remaining 16 minutes. Either that or AJ McGinty's going to have to kick a series of penalties, because Bath have given themselves a cushion once more, and Sale with it all to do. Bath in possession then, up to their 22-metre line. Will Stewart shields that ball, and Ben Spencer waits at the back of the ruck. He's got Priestland back in the pocket, just inside his own goal line, waiting for that, but Spencer elects not to go to the Wales fly half and just puts a box kick up the touchline to take play into the Sale half. And this will be the first time without Rob Webber that Sale will contemplate a line out. So who will be the thrower here for Sale? Let's have a little look. Jono Ross is the man thrust into this. Never an easy job this, Ollie, when you've lost your hooker and you've got a line out, and suddenly you have to turn to a flanker to try and execute a line-out call. Well, we know that the Sale line-out's not been functioning that well today. Let's see if Jono Ross can have any more luck than Aka van der Merwe did or Rob Webber did.
Real important period coming up here, Chris, and it's important for Sale to try and win this ball, because there's only 15 minutes left. Is 8 points the difference? So Sale going to want to get on the scoreboard again soon, and Can Ross get this right? There's a bit of movement in the line now. It hasn't really gone anywhere, but Jake Cooper-Woolley gets the ball and Sale retain possession, which is the important thing.
Yes, I don't think that was intended at all, but they pulled it off. Ross picked out Cooper-Woolley, who was kind of stood on his own, and Sale secure the ball. McGinty, little chip over the top. It's beautifully done, and it's Sam James who's got a chance to break. James's ball inside to De Klerk. De Klerk in open field. Can he get the pass away? That's brilliant. It goes to Luke Dupree, a little chip through for Solomona to chase. That was superb rugby again from Sale. De Klerk's break carried on majestically, and a Jean-Luc Dupree, a little grubber kick for Solomona, so near to coming off. Well, we almost saw a champagne try from the first half from AJ McGinty, having combined so well with Tom Curry. That was Sam James and Faf de Klerk creating that opportunity. Once more, the invention coming from McGinty at 10. Sale so close to getting another score, but once more, at the last, Bath managed to stem the tide and can clear their lines to halfway. Ollie Lathrop.
Well, it's been the story of the day for Sale. Some absolutely lovely rugby we saw there from De Klerk, from Sam James. It was a wonderful move, and Jean-Luc Dupree put that kick in, and the Sale players were chasing towards it, but it was covered well by Bath, and Bath managed to scramble and clear their lines again, like they've done so often in this game. McGinty, just seeing it on the replay there, with a deft chip. He's done that a couple of times, and De Klerk gave that offload to, I think it was maybe Tom Curry, who gave a little offload to Jean-Luc Dupree, but Bath scramble, and disappointing again from Sale. So much good about that, they couldn't get the finish.
AJ McGinty's touch, I think, has been a key part of today, Ollie, hasn't it? One of the real positives for Sale, those confident little chip throughs, just creating space. And as we look at the way that teams are setting up now with the law changes and tactically breaking the gain line with a little chip through, chasing your own kick or chipping through for others, it's becoming a real way of creating space and creating opportunities. And whilst it might not have come off for Sale in terms of tries scored today, on another day you feel it will. McGinty's confidence from the amount of rugby he's played recently and the points he's managed to both create and land himself for Sale is evident in his performance as De Klerk breaks himself. There goes Faf de Klerk down the right touchline, beating two men, going round Stewart, going round Spencer. John A. Ross steps in as an ersatz scrum half, but De Klerk is back to his usual post now, and he takes over from the base of that ruck to McGinty. Pop short to Curry, wearing 8, driving up to the 22, Tom Curry. De Klerk recycles, McGinty changes the angle. Out come the Bath line of yellow-shirted defenders to stop him and push him back, but Sale do maintain possession. De Klerk to dictate from the bottom of the ruck, finds Solomona, and now it's Jean-Luc Dupree smashing over Sam Underhill. Jake Cooper-Woolley driving up to the 22. Once more, Bath not committing many to the ruck, and Sale having to think about probing left and probing right and trying to find a way through this wall of yellow. As Ross drives forward, De Klerk digs deep, McGinty, many of the Sale non-playing staff shouting offside at referee Matt Carley, but he keeps his whistle in his pocket, at least for now. Sam James to Solomona, out to Luke James. Luke James bursting through, he's got Marlon Yard to his left, 10 metres from the line. Solomona supports the ruck, but Bath have got it clear and can smash the ball into touch. It comes last off a Sale body, and it's going to be a Bath line out inside their 22, and Sale throwing everything at this Bath defence, Ollie. Not quite though breaking through.
Well, I sound like a bit of a broken record here, Chris, but it's the same again. Sale are getting in the position, and they're doing some really nice stuff to get in there. Luke James there with a nice step to get closer towards the Bath line, but Bath scramble again like they have done so well in this game, and they make the turnover, and I think Jonathan Joseph tries to clear it, but it's charged down. It's come off someone anyway. We can't quite see the replay, and again Bath managed to clear. I think we're looking at this again about whose line out it may be. I think Joseph has just scuffed it. I think it's gone straight into touch off Joseph, but I'm not quite sure what you can see from there, Chris. But
yes, that's right. So I'm just listening to Matthew Carley, who's in conversation with Tom Foley there, his touch judge on the far side. It's exactly as you say, Ollie. It's a debate about who's got the line out. It is going to be a Sale line out. It was originally given as a Bath throw, but there's an opportunity here for Sale to have the line out. Jonathan Joseph's kick slicing off his foot. Benno Urbano coming off for the visitors, and Juan Schumann coming on, the South African loosehead prop, formerly of the Sharks in Durban, so someone will be well known to the Dupreers and Cooney Oosthuizen and Akker van der Merwe. all played together for the Seychelles Sharks in South Africa. Now then, John O'Ross, he's doing a decent job as a emergency hooker here, as Sale look to get something from the bottom of this ruck. They're 10 metres from the Bath line. De Klerk pops the ball short. Ross drives in. Klerk again, this time to Kuni Oosthuizen. De Klerk for a third time, popping it short. Finds Jean-Luc Duprier, but Bath have intercepted and have come away with possession. Sale not able to maintain possession in the Bath 22, and Ben Spencer smashes that ball upfield. Bounces it just inside the touchline. AJ McGinty's got to go back. He's got to be careful here. Here's Marlon Yard inside his 22. Good speed from Marlon Yard to get himself out of danger, but he's given it away. And Ben Spencer's got an easy run in for Bath. Oh dear, dear, dear. Try for Spencer. Error by Yard. And is that the moment that secures victory for Bath at the AJ Bell this afternoon? Well, it was a decent clearing kick from Spencer that put McGinty under pressure. It looked like Yard had got out of trouble, out of his 22, but then I'm afraid it was a suicidal pass from Marlon Yard, and Ben Spencer said thank you very much and ran in for his second score of the afternoon, and that could be, you feel, the final nail for Sale. Bath's lead moves to 13 points. It's Sale Sharks 15, Bath 28.
Well, in the space of about 30 seconds there, Chris, the game's changed. It looked like Sale might be the ones to get back into it, but Falatau did well to steal the ball from Jean-Luc Duprier. They cleared it downfield, and Marlon Yard did well to start with to carry the ball back, but the pass wasn't quite on, and Ben Spencer stole it in the Bath scrum half, continues his excellent game, and it was his kick that started that move. And the Bath half-backs today have been absolutely excellent. They've controlled the game very, very well, and an opportunity here for Priestland to put Bath 15 clear, which makes things difficult for Sale, because they'll need more than one score to even get that losing bonus point, which is probably the most that the Sharks can hope for from here.
Priestland then stands over this. It's a clean strike from Rhys Priestland, who extends his lead in the Premiership Golden Boot table. And as Ollie Lathrop rightly says, as we reach this point in the game and Bath lead by 30 points to 15, the visitors will be thinking about a 4-try bonus point. Sale will be thinking about the possibility of a losing bonus point, and with this table so tight, such bonus points could make the difference between finishing 4th and finishing 5th. It really is as tight as that. As we look at the table at the moment, if it finishes like this, it'll be Sale played 20 points 59, Bristol played 20 points 59, Bath played 20 points 59, and then just above those three, Wasps played 20 points 61. So there'll be 3 teams on 59 points with 2 games to go. Sale do have the benefit of a much better points difference, but a bonus point here for Bath, or potentially one for Sale, if they could get to within that 7-point range, could be extremely important in a couple of weeks' time. But Bath at the moment look like they're going to come away with a victory here at the AJ Bell. Sale so good for so many periods of this game, just have not been able to finish off some excellent play at times and pick up the points that Bath have managed to get when they've been in Sale territory. I'm sure the stats will show you that from a possession and territory point of view, Sale have had the ascendancy, but at the end of the day it's about points on the board. And Ollie, Bath have scored double the number that Sale have.
They have, Chris, and it's been that clinical edge that Bath have had that Sale haven't quite had. The Sharks have had opportunities and they haven't converted them. It's as simple as that, and that's why Bath are leading on the scoreboard, as you said, Chris. And I think now Steve Diamond will just be hopeful that Sale can get something from this game and prevent Bath from getting another point themselves.
Will Stewart with a knock on there gives Sale the advantage. So we'll come back for the scrum if nothing comes from this, as Dan Duprier drives it up. Will Cliff on as a substitute for Faf de Klerk, then pops it short to Kuni Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen drives in with support from John O'Ross. Cliff again to Jean-Luc Duprier. Dancing feet from Duprier, trying to get past Ross Batty. And now Sale have a chance through Sam James. Looked like it was opening up for James. Bit of greensward for him to run at, but again, Bath's cover defence is strong and Bath come up with the ball. It will, though, be a Sale put in for the knock-on, 5 metres from the Bath line, and 9 minutes to play, Ollie. You feel Bath will be desperate to stem Sale here, because if they can shut Sale out and stop them scoring, they'd be well on the way to winning this. If Sale score here, well, they've still got just a glimmer.
But it was former Salman Cameron Redpath there who made the turnover at the ruck. He got over the ball and managed to force that turnover, but Bath spilled the ball as they got it and tried to get away from their own line. As Akker van der Merwe has to come on here, obviously Rob Webber in the sin bin. I'm not sure who's made way for Sale. Can't see as of yet, but the South African back on because of Webber's indiscretion.
Matthew Carley just saying to Ross Batty, the replacement hooker for Bath there, keep the height at the scrum. One of the key aspects of refereeing scrummaging is the dialogue with the front rows to try and get as much clarity as possible and execution of scrums without lots of resets. Aaron Reid, who's just come on for Marlon Yard, just comes off again because Akker van der Merwe is back on to scrum down here with Rob Webber still in the sin bin. We've got just under 9 minutes to play. We've got a delay here. I can hear conversation about an open wound of one of the Bath players. It's Will Spencer, the replacement lock. Ollie, just while we have this break in play, if we look at the remaining fixtures, if Sale do lose this game today, we were saying that there's 3 sides on 59 points at the end of this game, assuming Sale don't get a bonus point and Bath don't either. Sale's run in Northampton away next after the Premiership Rugby Cup final. So it's Northampton away next and then finish at home to Worcester. Bath have got Gloucester at home, always a tasty southwest derby, and then Saracens away, who, despite their tailed off league position, have actually won 12 times this season. So you'd say Bath's run-in was far tougher than Sale's.
I think you would, Chris. And Sale, whatever happens today, it's still in their own hands. Their points difference is so good. 2 bonus point wins would be enough to secure a top 4 place. You've also got Bristol on 59, who host Leicester and go to London Irish in their last 2 games. So they've got a nice run-in as well. So Sale and Bristol have got the nicer run-ins, but you know that doesn't always translate to results.
Bristol, though, have also got a European Cup match to really think about, quarter-final looming, which is partly why Pat Lamb put out such a weakened side today. That may go in Sale's favour as well, the fact that Bristol have got to focus on that European Cup quarter-final. So lots of permutations yet. Sale, of course, back here a week on Monday for the Premiership Rugby Cup final. You'll be able to hear full commentary on Sharks Live as Sale go in pursuit of their first silverware since 2006. That match delayed from March, 6 months. One of the longest delays there must have ever been before a rugby match has been played, Ollie, when that was called off the night before. I don't think we had any idea it was going to be quite so long before we were going to finally see it play. But Sale have a penalty here. It's gone against Will Stewart for collapsing the scrum. 8.5 minutes left on the clock here at the AJ Bell. Akker van der Merwe takes the tap penalty to himself. He stayed on after that scrum. He's within a yard of the line, following the Luke Cowan-Dickey method to try and use sheer brute force to get over. Sale really pushing. Can they get a score here, which will bring them very close to being losing bonus point territory? Yes, they can. And Sale have scored, and it's well taken. Sale are over from close range. Dan du Preez is the man, I think it is, who's got himself over for his 6th try of the season. So Dan du Preez following his twin brother onto the scorers list for this afternoon, and AJ McGinty with the conversion that makes it 20 points to 30. Sale are within 3 points of a losing bonus point, and perhaps they quite haven't given up all hope, Ollie, of still winning this game. 8 points to difference, 8 minutes to go.
Well, that was really needed, Chris. Sale were 15 points behind and they've managed to give themselves a chance of at least a losing bonus point here as Bath remained under their post trying to waste a bit of time, but Matt Carley lets them know they need to get on with it as Bath make a substitution themselves. Henry Thomas coming on.
Yeah, nice option to have off the bench. A man with 7 England caps to replace Will Stewart, another full international. Played against France in the Six Nations earlier this year. So 8 points the difference, 8 minutes to go. Sale will be very keen that at least they get a losing bonus point out of this one. They may still have hopes they can get even more than that. Priestland's restart. Sale need some good phases now. Well, they've got off to a good start because Jean-Luc du Preez has taken that ball cleanly out of the afternoon sky and popped it short to Tom Curry. Decent recycling. Will Cliff urged to use it by referee Carley. Is at the back of this ruck just inside his 22, and Cliff with an up and under gets rather too much underneath that one, and the ball actually goes backwards And Jean-Luc Dupré for the second time claims it, but then he spills it. And it looks like it's a battle on the floor again, and Sale come up with it. Good work from Dupré as he finds AJ McGinty, who tries a lofted pass out to Denis Solomona, wide on the right wing. It was ambitious, that, very floaty. We've already had one interception try in this second half, but McGinty happy to take the risk. He knows his side have got to find something special here to get up the other end. They're still deep in their own half, and McGinty trying to dance his way through a lot of yellow-shirted Bath forwards. Sale, though, still in possession at the ruck, and they've won a penalty. And this will give AJ McGinty the opportunity to kick the ball deep, or perhaps Sam James to come forward. It will be James, who wastes no time in left-footed in smacking this ball into touch. That will take play inside the Bath 10-metre with a Sale throw. 6.5 minutes to play. The deficit 8 points.
This is the time to get it right, Chris, isn't it? 8 points behind. Any chance of winning this game, Sale will need to get something here. But they'll at least want that losing bonus point. As you said, it could be crucial as the season draws to an end. You know, those bonus points, you accrue them throughout the season, they can make a real difference. So Sale will want to get that right now as Webber throws in.
And Rob Webber does his job. Back on after his sin binning, and Sale have the chance in midfield, but Sam James makes a mistake, throws the ball away. Jonathan Joseph can hack it through, and Luke James has to go back and get his brother out of trouble. Joseph for company. Good break forward from Luke James. He contemplates the kick, but elects to back himself and keeps running. He gets up as far as the 22-metre line before Tom Ellis's large frame brings him down, but good work from Luke James. But once more, Sale making that mistake at a key moment, and suddenly what was an attacking position inside the Bath half means they have to start again from inside their 22. It's Aaron Reid back on the field of play after he had to temporarily step off to let Akke van der Merwe on, but now that the sin binning is over, Reid is back on, and he made 5 metres or so there, the young winger, and Sale move forward up the right-hand touchline now with Jono Ross getting up to the halfway line. Cliff to Cooper Woolley. Cooper Woolley rumbling his way forward at first receiver. Cliff looks to dig it out again, appeals for a knock-on. No interest from Matthew Carley in that, despite the protestations of the Bath players. Lots of appeals for offside from the Sale non-playing players sat just near us with the Bath shirts so far forward. There did seem to be a case there, but Sale have to keep going, and indeed they do, and it's a burst forward from Tuilangi, which takes them up to the Bath 22, but in the ensuing battle of the breakdown, it's Sale who are penalised, and that's going to give Bath a penalty with just 4 minutes left on the clock, just outside their 22, and another brave Sale attack comes to an end.
I think it's Cam Redpath again there, Chris, who's turned the ball over against his former club. He did it just now, deep inside the 22, and he's halted Tuilangi there and won the ball for his club, and that probably ends any hopes Sale have of winning this game. There's still a chance of a losing bonus point, but you really felt that was the last opportunity for Steve Diamond's team to win this match. But 4 minutes ago, there's still plenty to play for, and it just sort of summed up the game, didn't it? Bath hanging in there, scrambling well. I know I've said that a lot, and Sale not really able to convert those long passages of play in the Bath half.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to really kind of pick this performance apart and say, well, what went wrong? Because Sale have done so much right over the 80 minutes that it's often just been that little bit of execution in the Bath 22. We've commented on the line-out. I mean, that clearly is an area that Steve Diamond and his coaching staff are going to have to look at in the coming days. That's clearly been an area of malfunction. But apart from that, a lot of their rugby has been very good today. And they've often just been one pass or one kick in the 22 away from putting away excellent moves into banking 5-7 points each time they've done it. Bath have picked them off from the mistakes that they have made, but I'm not sure, line out aside, there's too much that's fundamentally wrong with this performance. On another day, with a bit more luck perhaps, they might have run in 3 more scores, but it could well be that this is going to be a defeat, and perhaps one without a point that goes with it, and that's going to put the pressure on for the remaining games against Northampton and Worcester. It's hard, Ollie, to kind of foresee what sort of opposition they're going to face, because neither of those sides have got anything to play for now. Are they going to try and put out a full strength team? Are they going to just give youngsters an opportunity. Northampton at home, you'd feel, when they've had such a rotten run at home, would want to go out on a high from Franklin's Gardens for this season. Normally a tough place to go, but with no fans in there, hard to categorise. Worcester here, you'd think, was very winnable for Sale. But there's a question of integrity that's going to pop up now, because all of these teams are going to probably want to win, or know they've got a need to win their last 2 games, Sale, Bristol Wasps and Bath. And if certain other sides put out heavily weakened teams and almost gift victories to teams, and that isn't always shared across all the teams, then there may well be directors of rugby turning around and going, that ain't fair. So it could get very interesting in the last few weeks with what happens with the teams selected, let alone what happens on the field of play.
No, I think you're right, Chris. Obviously, Northampton have got a European quarter-final against Exeter. Worcester have nothing left in Europe, so I'd imagine you'll see a strong Worcester side here at the AJ Bell on the final day. Northampton is so hard to tell, and Franklin's Gardens is always a hard place to go to as Bath win another penalty, and that is probably it, Chris.
Yeah, Sale in desperation conceding that penalty, and well, from a Bath perspective here, 8-point lead. Do they kick for goal to try and completely close the door on a Sale losing bonus point, or do they go after the 4th try and another bonus point themselves? Well, that's what they're going to go for, and I think that makes good sense. Reece Priestland kicking for the corner, and if Bath do score again here, then having come all this way, not only to win a game but to take a try bonus point, I'm sure would have been beyond Stuart Hooper's wildest dreams at the start of the afternoon. But that is the opportunity for Bath now. 2.5 minutes left on the clock, an 8-point lead. Looking like Sale are going to get nothing from this game, but Bath might be able to complete a full house here. They already have tries this afternoon from McConaughey and 2 from Ben Spencer. And 1 more gets them another potentially crucial point. It's all going to get very, very tight and very tense. And I can just imagine the permutations, Ollie, on the final day already. You and I stood here for the Worcester game, eyes on phones, constant recalculations of points differences, bonus point permutations, and all sorts of fun like that. But
it's going to need a fair amount of research, that, Chris, going into that last day. Calculators, pages and pages of notes.
And reliance on data that we see coming through from other games being right. Here comes the throw. And it's a decent one from Ross Batty, securing control for his side. They've got a penalty coming. Little chip across the top for Jonathan Joseph to chase. Jonathan Joseph's got there. Can he get the ball down? He's over the line. Has he grounded it? Yes, he has. And there is the bonus point score. Bath gambled and may have reaped the rewards. Jonathan Joseph chasing the kick through and getting it down. He got over the line. There were 2 Sale shirts trying to stop him from getting the ball down. They couldn't do so, and Jonathan Joseph completes a near perfect afternoon for Stuart Hooper's side, and they are going to take the win and a try bonus point. Sale 22, Bath 35, and a conversion to come.
Well, what a result this is going to be, Chris. I don't think we saw a 5-point win for Bath coming today. We know it's going to be close, we know it's going to be competitive, but they've come here to the AJ Bell and they're going to leave it with maximum points, and their top 4 hopes have been vastly boosted today, and that try bonus point we believe is going to take them 3rd. So, well, what a result for Bath. For Sale, they can I believe have scored 3 tries. If they could get a try in this last minute, that would give them a losing bonus point themselves, regardless of whether Priestland kicks this. But you know, this would be a pretty demoralising result, and Steve Diamond's going to have a fair bit of geeing up to do this week, heading into that Prem Cup final here a week on Monday with a minute to go. So I'll need this ball back. I imagine we'll see AJ McGinty go short here.
So Sale 22, Bath 37. Rare for the Sharks to concede this many in a Premiership game, particularly here. Only beaten here twice so far this season, by Gloucester on the opening day way back last October, and then by Exeter in the first home game since the resumption. But Sale are going to take nothing from this game unless, as Ollie Lathrope says, in the last 49 seconds they can pick themselves up a try bonus point. McGinty's chip forward from the restart, and Bath secure possession. That's probably game, set and match from a Sale point of view in terms of getting that losing, or rather that try bonus point. Ben Spencer pops that short. Will Chudley now on at scrum half for Spencer, just controlling things for Bath. Short pass to Charlie Ewells, and Bath just looking to run down the clock now, move through the phases. Lots of short passes, not much ambition here, no ambition needed. They have added 15 points to their points difference, taken 15 points off Sales, and more importantly than that, picked themselves up a victory and an extra bonus point. That is the end of a near perfect afternoon for Bath, as John O'Ross gets into a little bit of afters with a few of the Bath forwards. Just as the final whistle goes, tempers start to flare. There is so much up for grabs at this stage of the season, emotions starting to run high, but Bath's emotions will be the more positive ones at the end of this match, no question of that. They have claimed the win and the bonus point to take themselves up to third in the table, winning this match by 37 points to 22. That means it's going to be Exeter top of the tree, then Bath 60 points from 20 games. Sorry, then Wasps 61 points from 20 games, Bath 60 from 20, and Sale 20 games, 59 points. Bristol also 20 games, 59 points, are now in 5th. So Bristol down in 5th, having been second for many weeks in this table. It shows you just how tight it is at the top of the table. It is still going to be one mighty close battle for those 4th spots, and whoever comes 5th is going to be extremely disappointed. Ollie Lathrop, your final reflections on the afternoon.
Well, first of all, Chris, I just want to say what a great game that was. You know, two brilliant sides. Sale probably the more expansive, but Bath certainly came here and looked to play, and it was just a really, really good game. Both sides had nice touches. I don't feel like Sale played badly at all, really. I just think the set piece didn't quite go right, and their execution when they had those chances didn't quite work. And Bath were clinical. You know, every time they were in the Sale half, it felt like they came away with points. They took advantage of a few Sale mistakes, and they leave the AJ Bell Stadium with 5 points. And as you said, that top 5 race for those 4 spots is absolutely huge. Now I can't call it. You know, before today I'd have said Sale and Bristol will certainly be in there, but now it's been turned on its head. So there's still a lot of rugby to be played. You know, Steve Diamond will know that. He'll know that 2 bonus points wins will 95% be enough to get Sale in the top 4. There's no Europe for Sale. Other clubs have got to play European rugby as well, so it's all on the Premiership. It's the Prem Rugby Cup. It's 2 games to get it right, 2 games to do what Sale have done for the majority of the season, 2 games they would expect to win, and they'll be in the top 4. So a disappointing result today, but you know, it's not the end of the world. This was a more important game for Bath to win than Sale, but you know, there'll be some disappointment in that Sale change room, obviously, but you know, it can still be turned around. There's still a great chance of getting a home semi-final, let alone a semi-final. So lots to play for. A tough couple of days coming up, but looking ahead to that big final next Monday. Whatever happens this season, Sale could still end with a trophy if they beat Harlequins here a week on Monday.
Yes, and just as a reminder, we will be covering that match, of course, on Sharks Live of September, so please join me, Lathrop, and myself, Chris Malaband, for that one. Let's just recap then the tale of the afternoon. Sale off to a flying start. Rohan Janssen van Rensburg bursting through from a nice break from AJ McGinty to give Sale a 5-point lead. McGinty adding the extras, but back came Bath. Rory McConaughey sprinting through to bring it back to 7 points to 5, and Rhys Priestland converting. Priestland then giving Bath the lead with a penalty, and Bath then extending that lead just before half-time with a neat try from Ben Spencer, which Priestland converted from the touchline. 17-7 the half-time score, so a 10-point deficit for Sale to make up. They started doing that in the second half. Jean-Luc Dupré breaking through for an excellent score. Conversion was missed, but when AJ McGinty added a penalty a few minutes later, the deficit was just 2 points with 20 minutes to play. But once more, Bath found another gear when they needed it. Priestland slotting 2 consecutive penalties just to open up that gap again, and then when Marlon Yard tried a pass that wasn't really on, Ben Spencer sprinted through with an interception score which really sealed the game. Priestland converted. That made it 30 points to 15, and although Dan Dupré got himself on the scoreboard with a try which McGinty converted, Jonathan Joseph had the last word with Priestland adding the extras. So 37 points to 22 for Bath. Sale don't take a single point from the game. They scored 3 tries. Bath, though, with 4 do take a bonus point, which means in the race then for those coveted spots between positions 2, 3 and 4, with Exeter way out in front, having already secured their place in the final 4. Just to recap it, as we finish round 20 with 2 rounds to play, Wasps in second place, played 20 points, 61 with a points difference of 115. Then coming next is Bath in third, played 20 points, 60 with a 52 points difference in the positive. Then it is Sale Sharks, played 20 points, 59 with a whopping 171 point difference. And then Bristol now down in 5th, as Ollie was saying, 59 points, the same as Sale, but with only a 38 point difference. So Sale in 4th tonight as we stand. They need to make sure that they fall no lower than 4th, of course, to make the end of season semi-finals, although finishing 4th would likely mean a trip to Exeter. Extremely tough, although not impossible, as we have seen on occasion this season. So it's getting nail-biting. Ollie, your final reflections on it all?
It certainly is, Chris. You know, I can't call it. You know, any one of those 4 sides could get in that top 4. That's what's so exciting. That's why the Premiership's such a great league, and you know, it's going to be a really interesting run-in. And of course, we've got the Prem Cup final next week as well against Harlequins. That final game that was postponed before the lockdown. We were all expecting to come here on that Sunday for the Prem Cup final, and circumstances meant we weren't able to. And that game happens on Monday. And I think, you know, whatever, as we said just now, whatever does happen this season, Sale can still end this year with a trophy. The Prem Cup, you know, okay, it's not the Premiership, it's not the Champions Cup, it's not the Challenge Cup, but it's still a trophy, and to win one of them there here at the AJ Bell, you're not going to get the opportunity very often. Unfortunately, there'll probably be no fans here, but you know, a trophy's a trophy, and next Monday's a good opportunity to do that.
And Harlequins, a side who have struggled for consistency this season, Ollie, and particularly on the road. Sale will really fancy their chances in that game, you'd think. Quins out of the running in terms of the top 4 in the Premiership. They can clearly put out their strongest side on that night, but if you look at the 2 squads on paper, Sale will definitely go into that as firm favourites.
I think you're right, Chris. You know, Quins obviously beat Sale on the first game after the restart, but Sale were a better side since then. You know, I don't know if they lost today, but things have definitely improved. So Sale will go into that with all the confidence. I think we'll see a strong Sale team as well. Obviously the return of Chris Ashton up here as well for the first time since he left, so that should be a really interesting one. But Sale fancy their chances, as they would any game here at the AJ Bell. We've seen today it can go wrong, but you know, that's rugby. There's still at least 3 games left this season, hopefully more, and we'll see how it plays out.
And we've seen the end of the midweek games now, haven't we? We've moved through that phase of the season, which was essential to get it finished in time, to ensure that we had the integrity of everybody playing everybody else. But it has meant a lot of squad rotation and teams having to put out weakened side for the midweek game. We're now at least at a point, Ollie, where Sale will be able to name their strongest side every week, and it won't need 9, 10, 11 changes. There might be some tweaks on form, or of course the odd injury, but it won't need, like we saw today, where we had a completely different backline name for Sale than we'd seen in the midweek match against Saracens. They can put the best team that Steve Diamond feels can win each game out on that field of play, starting with Harlequins next Monday, then at Northampton on the 29th of September. That's actually a Tuesday evening game, but they'll have had an 8-day rest from the Harlequins match, and then Worcester at home on the 4th of October, the Sunday, to end it all, when all the matches will kick off simultaneously, so no one gets an advantage knowing what they need to do basis of how other teams have done. So we should see that quality and the opportunity for Sale to name their best team. And like we say, the unknown is how strong do the other teams go? Do they put their full strength teams out? Are there young teams for Sale to play up against? And how will that affect the teams around them, the Wasps, the Baths, the Bristols, to see how they will fare as well. So some unknowns, but it makes it very interesting, doesn't it? It's going to be mighty tight, and you get the impression whoever's going to finish 5th is going to finish 5th by a cigarette paper.
Right, they're going to be pretty gutted, whoever does finish 5th, aren't they? But you know, this is why we love rugby. We're so glad he's back. You know, when it's gone, is, you know, we wanted it back, and unfortunately it's not in the circumstances we'd have hoped. But this season is still set to be an absolute brilliant one. It's going to end with one disappointed team. Hopefully that's not Sale, but we just don't know. It's so unpredictable. You know, before today, as we said earlier, Bristol and Sale, you thought were top 4 guaranteed. That's not necessarily going to happen now. But Sale still got everything in their own hands. Northampton, a tricky game, but Sale would fancy going down to Franklin's Gardens and winning, and then if we can get it down to that last game at home to Worcester at the AJ Bell. I think if you'd have offered Steve Diamond 2 games to win at the start of the season to finish in the top 4, I think he'd have snapped your hand off.
And Sale, as we say, will go into those games in 4th place. Just a look around what else has been happening in the English Premiership today. If you missed the early result, it was Wasps 59, Bristol 35, a real points fest at the Rico. Bristol sending a very young side to face Wasps in the Midlands today. Will actually probably be quite pleased that they managed to get a 4-try bonus point from that. It looked like a game that Pat Lam had written off, with the European quarter-final looming up for his Bears. So Wasps taking the win there and taking maximum of 5 points. The East Midlands derby at Welford Road has finished Leicester 28, Northampton 24. So the misery for the Saints continues. Chris Boyd's side have really struggled since the resumption, and a few local bragging rights for Steve Borthwick's Leicester, who I think will come back a lot stronger next season. Only 1 month, of course, between this one finishing and the next one starting, and I think Leicester might be a far better proposition next year under Steve Borthwick. So they start off as they mean to go on with a victory today over Northampton. London Irish 25, Worcester 40 at the Stoop. Irish using the Stoop just for a few weeks before they move to the new Brentford Football Stadium in the new season. But Worcester coming up with the victory there, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, against the Exiles. And of course here it finished Sale 22, Bath 37. In a repeat of last season's final, it's currently Saracens 8, a very young looking Exeter 5 at Alliance Park. We hope to be catching up very shortly with one of the Sale players. Colin McKevitt will get some post-match reaction, we hope, once Sale have had their debrief with Steve Diamond in the dressing room. Ollie, I just want to ask you about the opportunity now for Rob Baxter and what he does with his Exeter team from here to the end of the season, because his team are going to have a home semi-final. He's got 2 more rounds that he could potentially play his best side, or he could rest them completely and say, well, I'm just going to preserve these players and ensure I don't get any injuries and give some other players some experience. But you run the risk there that players are rusty for the semi-final. So how do you think he'll go at it? He's gone with a completely changed, very young kind of youth side come second 15 today at Saracens. Do you think Baxter will continue to do that, or do you think he might reintroduce some of his star men for the last couple of rounds?
Well, considering they're still in Europe, I would be surprised if we saw a full-strength Exeter in the Premiership until the semi-finals. They got the European game next weekend. They'll go strong for that. Then they've got potentially a European semi-final after that. I'm not quite sure where their last 2 games are in the schedule. So he'll that first game of their next 2 Exeter, I'm sure Rob Baxter will rotate. The second game might be slightly different, the final day of the season, but I don't think we'll be seeing a full-blooded Exeter side now until a Premiership semi-final in the Premiership, which aids the sides they come up against. I think they've got to play Wasps at some point, Exeter, so they'll want to be confident with that and getting a result. And I think we will see a different team for Exeter, as we can now go pitch side. I believe Colin McKevitt has Sale Sharks captain John O'Ross.
There. But we've got to lick our wins. There's still a fair way to go in this competition. It's so tight at the top. We've just got to focus on winning our next 2 Premiership games as they come in.
There's going to be a lot of work, I guess, for you, for the team. What kind of things are you going to start going through in your mind in respect to getting ready for that game?
Yeah, firstly, I think you've got to give Bath credit. I think they put us under a lot of pressure, and under pressure we gave away penalties, 2 yellow cards, myself included, which is not good enough, which obviously put us under pressure.
We're professional sportsmen, we know what we're doing, that kind of thing, but there must be something in not having fans around.
I mean, I'm not saying we lose games because we don't have fans. But obviously you want to play rugby in front of fans, so the quicker we can get our fantastic fans, although there's not always, you know, hundreds of thousands here, they make a loud noise and we really appreciate them. So the quicker we can get them back, I think the better. I think the better for the sport and better for the spectator as well.
When the fans around us, we're getting tweets in from South Africa, from Japan, you know, everybody's still, you know, with us and stuff, they're just not physically here. And
Yeah.
I think we're all feeling the same way today. You know, this is it, and we're connected like that, I guess. And that must give something then to know that it isn't just the 15 lads that are on there at that point. There is a whole club around you here that want to keep pushing and pushing.
Yeah, I think ever since I've been at this club, you know, it's a lot more than just the players and the staff and the kit men at the club. You know, when you come to games or go to away games, the fans are there every single time, and they're massively important to us. And you know, when they're not here, you probably notice them a lot more. You know, so we would really like them back as soon as possible. But as I said, absolutely no excuse for why we lost. We weren't good enough, and Bath were probably better than us today. So
8 days, mate. Let's get back on it. Yeah?
Thanks very much.
Cheers.